I adopted a girl in Douluo who has talents greater than Xianrinxue. With her innate martial soul and full innate soul power, she is a unique existence in the entire Douluo continent. I let her wander alone in the Star Do Great Forest. I happened to meet the sword Douluo in Ning Rongrong of the Seven Treasure Glazed Glass sect on the road. As one of the only titled Douluo on the main road today, Chen Xin could see the extraordinary qualities of Aelithia at a glance. Little girl, would you like to be my disciple? Jian Douluo asked. Do not. I didn't expect that Ailey directly rejected an invitation from a titled Douluo. The dusty heart looked puzzled. You may not be aware of my identity. I am one of the elders of the Seven Treasures Luli sect. If you become my disciple, no one will dare to bully you from now on. There will be countless resources available to you, which will greatly assist your future development. Uncle Qinshin, what you said is very touching, but Ailey doesn't want to rely on external forces. I want to strive with my own hands and work hard to fight for it. Chen Xin sighed deeply. Well, I respect your choice. The next line of people continued on the road to help Ailey obtain the soul ring. Chen Xion's face turned serious. We should have entered the territory of a soul beast. Isn't it too dangerous? No, Grandpa Jian is not afraid of near-peripheral soul beasts. Suddenly, Qinshin's eyes looked sharply towards the dark grass in the distance, and a 1,000-year-old soul beast leaped out. Its gaze firmly locked on Aelithia. As if it had come specifically for her, the Millennium Spirit Beast lay directly on the ground, wagging its tail at Aelithia to show friendliness. Strange, why doesn't this soul beast attack people on its own? Qinshin frowned, feeling puzzled by the behavior of this 1,000-year-old soul beast. Feeling that this Millennium Spirit Beast had no malice, Aelithia walked up and, before she could stop her, the next moment the two saw Aelithia reaching out to gently stroke the head of the Millennium Spirit Beast. Don't touch it, it's dangerous, Qinshin exclaimed. How did he never expect that Ailey would be bold enough to touch the 1,000-year-old soul beast? He really isn't afraid of being bitten to death. Ali, don't do it. Ning Rongrong was scared and her face turned pale. She didn't want to see Ali get hurt. It would be very upsetting for her. However, Aelithia's face was filled with a smile. Look, it's very obedient. Not fierce at all. Watching the Millennium Spirit Beast close its eyes, rubbing its head against Aelithia's palm, looking very content. Suddenly, Ning Rongrong and Chen Xian were in a mess in the wind. What is going on? It's one thing for soul beasts not to attack people, but why do they look like they're enjoying it? I don't understand. Is this the charm that belongs only to Aelithia? This charm can even attract soul beasts, which is really unbelievable. Immediately, the Millennium Soul Beast emitted a dazzling purple light. Aelithia raised an eyebrow and asked, "What's wrong with you?" At this moment, a bewildered voice sounded in Alicia's mind. Your soul is noble and pure. I want to sacrifice it to you. Before Alicia could react, the Millennium Spirit Beast voluntarily sacrificed itself to her. A purple light surrounded Alicia's body, ultimately transforming into a light purple soul ring that was easily absorbed. All of this happened in the blink of an eye, and Qinshin's pupils shrank in shock. How is this possible? Ning Rongrong subconsciously rubbed her eyes to make sure she wasn't seeing things. The two exclaimed in unison. Sacrifice. As is well known, the relationship between human soul masters and soul beasts is deep and intense, to the point of being described as an irreconcilable enmity. Unfortunately, I cannot provide a translation for this text as it contains proper nouns. After a moment, Alicia opened her eyes, with no smile on her face, but instead a faint sadness, feeling regret for the passing of the Millennium Spirit Beast. Ailey, how do you feel? Ning Rongrong came to Ailey's side, speaking with concern. It feels great, it's just that it died. Aelithia lowered her head, feeling down. If a cruel soul beast like Eli kills without guilt, but this soul beast is a good soul beast, sacrificing itself to become stronger at such a heavy cost, Eli would rather not. She is unwilling to harm a good soul beast. At the same time, Ari can feel that one of the shackles of the main body martial soul has been removed, and the power is gradually returning. First soul skill, Arrow of Flower and Bird. Looking at Ailey's low spirits, Ning Rongrong opened her mouth, but couldn't say anything. Alicia raised her head, her eyes shimmering with a faint light, and a smile reappeared on her face. Rongrong, you don't need to worry about me. I'm fine. I will carry on with the will of this spirit beast and embark on a journey to witness this beautiful world. Soon Ning Rongrong cast aside the thoughts in her mind. Ari, what is your first soul skill? First soul skill, Flower and Bird's Vector. As the words fell, Alicia held her bow and arrow, and the pink arrow shot out like a meteor, accompanied by the pleasant sounds of birds. The grass along the way blooms with flower petals. Wow, it's beautiful. Where has Ning Rongrong seen this kind of battle? And girls who would hate beautiful things. Deeply intrigued. What about you, Glory? My martial soul is the 7 treasure glazed pagoda, known as the continent's #1 auxiliary martial soul. mentioning her martial soul. Ning Rongrong proudly raised her head but it lowered instantly as it met Ellie's eyes. Ning Rongrong wasn't discouraged when her own talent and martial soul were crushed in front of Ellie. You can keep up with her if you're willing to put your mind to it. The continent's #1 auxiliary martial soul? Rongrong is really something, Aelithia teased with a smile. Ning Rongrong had a red face. The 7 treasure glazed pagoda's soul techniques are all of the auxiliary type, and don't do much damage. Like this? Then I'll be the one to protect Rongrong from now on. Ellie. Under the setting sun, Dusty witnessed the two girls make a promise to form a deep friendship. So, Rongrong, you haven't said what your soul skill is. Ning Rongrong sniffed and spread out her hands to summon the 7 treasure glazed pagoda. The 7 jewels are famous, and one is said to be power. A stream of light swept out from the 7 treasure glazed pagoda and infused into Alicia's body. At once, the increase increased Ellie's own power by a very small amount, only as much as 20%, but it also felt new to Ellie. Is this the 7 treasure glazed pagoda auxiliary ability? Of course, isn't that awesome? Call it the continent's #1 auxiliary martial soul, right? Ning Rongrong had a rare moment of smugness in front of Ellie. Yeah, it's awesome. Ning Rongrong, who was already complacent, had her tail turned up to the sky when she was complimented by Ellie. Well, it's not too late for us to move and leave the Stardust Great Forest. The silent Dusty Heart spoke up, interrupting the two women from continuing their conversation. I'm afraid that if we keep talking, we'll have to spend the night in the Stardust Great Forest tonight. With that, the group led by Dusty Heart walked out of the Stardust Great Forest, without someone to lead the way. Aelithia didn't know how many days of detours she would have to take to get out of the Stardust Great Forest. Seeing that she had walked out of the Stardust Great Forest, Aelithia stopped in her tracks. Noticing that Ellie had stopped, Ning Rongrong tugged at the corner of Ellie's coat. Let's go. What's Ellie waiting for? I'm sorry, I can't go with you guys. Huh? Ellie, aren't you coming with us? Why? Ning Rongrong's eyes widened and, a face of disbelief. She had expected Ellie to follow them, not realizing that the separation had come so quickly. Aelithia kept a smile on her face. What? Can't bear to part with me? Rongrong, you should remember what I said, right? I want to make a journey to witness this wonderful world, so I can't go with you guys and I don't want to use outside help, so I'm really sorry about that. Nonetheless, Ning Rongrong is undeterred and tries to retain Ellie. Ellie, aren't you afraid of danger? Lady Luck is always on Ellie's side. Oh. Ellie smiled sweetly, unworried. Ning Rongrong was silent. Since being with Aelithia, it seemed that the influence of her good fortune there were hardly any soul beasts encountered. Instead, suitable soul beasts are easier to find. There was even a 1,000-year-old soul beast sacrificed to Aelithia on its own. This splash of luck is breathtaking. Well, this is for you. Ning Rongrong took out her black card and handed it to Ellie, associating it with Ellie's nature. Hastily added, I'll be angry if you don't take it. Aelithia had no choice but to take it. This isn't going to be filled with money, is it? Of course. The last thing my 7 treasures glazed sect lacks is money. Money is just a string of numbers to me. The eyelids of Dusty Heart on the side jumped. This black card is Rongrong's 3 years of savings. Just give it away willingly? Was this the same little witch he knew? Did you make a good friend and change your mind? Ahem. I see it's getting late. Ellie, you can leave tomorrow. I'm sorry, Dusty Heart said in a deep voice as he looked at the sky that was stepping into dusk. Aelithia smiled and nodded. Yes, it's not that bad, and by the way, stay with Rongrong, so that you don't cry and fuss over my departure. Ning Rongrong's face flushed red and her mouth hardened a few points. Where did I? Really? Aelithia winked playfully. The gleaming gaze looked at Ning Rongrong's heart. Ning Rongrong lowered her head, feeling like she was completely out of Ellie's league and was being held to death by her. In the past, Ning Rongrong would have already made a scene. After meeting Aelithia, and somehow changing her personality, afraid that she would find out that she was a little witch, fear of being disliked by Ellie and losing the first friend in her life. Into the night, Dusty Heart took Rongrong and Ellie and chose a flat spot nearby to set up camp. He himself stood guard outside, while the two women stayed at peace in the tent. Dusty Heart meditatively felt that his heart and soul had been taken away from him, shaking his head to cast away the distractions within. Rongrong has made a close friend. She should be happy for her. What's the point of worrying? Just why is there a tinge of loss in the back of my mind? Inside the tent, the two women, Aelithia and Ning Rongrong, stared wide-eyed, neither of them opening their mouths to break the momentary silence. After a while, Aelithia pursed her small lips. Rongrong, go to bed early. Good night. The two women closed their eyes and lay down to rest together. Perhaps it is very tired all the way. Not a moment later the two women fell into a deep sleep. The corners of his mouth all turned up in a smirk. In her sleep Ning Rongrong yelled, Ellie, don't go, okay? In an unassuming place, the lilies of my hometown bloom. On the other hand, Chen Luo, who was far away in the thatched hut, was leisurely nibbling on a melon seed. A heavenly voice rang in his head. Ding! Cultivation target Aelithia acquired a purple soul ring. Asterisk asterisk. Chen Luo sat up violently in shock, opening his mouth. That is the nationalist. Is little Ellie so powerful? Obtaining a soul ring so quickly? Or a 1,000-year soul ring? On second thought, Chen Luo was relieved. Whoever made her Aelithia, there would be nothing impossible. A flawless human child that couldn't be said to have been autonomously sacrificed by a 1,000-year-old soul beast, just because it's so beautiful. Trigger increase. Reward the host with a 10,000-year soul ring. Chen Luo smacked his lips and gave a thumbs up. Little Ellie is great. Immediately, a hand grabbed the 10,000-year soul ring to instantly refine it. Gain the first soul skill. Jintian sword drawing. Jintian sword drawing technique. A growth-type soul skill that increases in power as the user's strength increases. Eventually chopping through the sky is not in the cards. The power is only higher. The next day, inside the tent, Rongrong let out a sharp popping sound. Dusty Heart, who was guarding the outside, was startled and thought that he was in danger, so he rushed in. What's wrong? Little Wing Wing, Grandpa Sword, why didn't you tell me when Ellie left? Rongrong puffed out her face and, the words were tinged with 3 parts grumbling and 7 parts self-reproach. I blame myself for sleeping so much that I didn't even realize Ellie was gone. Ugh, boring was the one Ellie told me not to bother you with. Actually, the original statement was, I wouldn't want to disturb a beautiful maiden's beauty sleep. This was something that Dusty Heart didn't have the face to say even though he had lived most of his life. It's so humiliating. How is Ellie like this? Rongrong complained. Clearly she was the one who flirted with it first, but it was she who left without saying goodbye. She was lost inside, like she had lost something important. Dusty Heart said he couldn't read it, really couldn't read it, and he coughed lightly. Ahem, here's the letter Ellie left for you. As the words fell, Rongrong snatched the letter and opened it. To dear Wing Wing, the moment you read this letter, Ellie is gone. The short time I spent with you made Ellie happy from the bottom of her heart. There are so many things I want to tell you. I wish it could stay like this, but there's a new journey waiting for me. So don't blame Ellie for leaving without saying goodbye, okay? In closing, Ellie would like to say that parting is for a better reunion next time. We will eventually be reunited. And may we shine as bright and beautiful as the stars. Don't miss me too much. Aelithia. Squeezing the letter in her hand, Rongrong's eyes were slightly red, tears welling up in her eyes. Ellie, you guy. Obviously the same age as me, but so much more mature. It was only after meeting Aelithia that Rongrong came to a profound realization. How capricious I once was. Not worthy of being Ellie's friend compared to this. Therefore, Rongrong made up her mind to reform herself. Little witch or whatever. Not as much as one stick of Ellie. Grandpa Sword. Let's go back. I'm going to double my training after I return to the clan. I mustn't fall behind Ellie. Rongrong's eyes were firm, and it was rare for her to take the initiative to cultivate for once. She wasn't going to allow herself to be left behind by Ellie by a long shot, and would have to work twice as hard to keep up with her. After all, Ellie, she's an innate full soul power-up, her talent is much higher than her own. The speed of cultivation would naturally be faster than his own. Rongrong didn't want to see that there was no one behind Ellie in the future, and that she would stand by her side to assist her. Dusty nodded in relief, never expecting to make the acquaintance of an Ellie that just let the once playful little witch grow up. Thinking of this, Dusty Heart couldn't help but flirt. The former playful little devil girl has grown up. It'll work out for one. Rongrong's face was slightly red, and she stomped her foot in annoyance. Grandpa Sword, I'm going to ignore you if you say that again. Fine, I'll stop talking about it and go along with it. Dusty Heart smiled and shook his head. He really couldn't do it without defying old age. He couldn't understand the world of young people anymore. Time flew by, and this time when Aelithia was gone, it was more than a month. A small body with a will of steel, pathways all over the place, through mountains and rivers, through deep forests, and also through villages stopping for days, warm-heartedly helping the village elders, often talked about and remembered by countless people. To be celebrated and to leave a trail that belongs to Aelithia. From time to time, seniors ask why Ellie wants to help people. Does Ellie say you need a reason to help people? Doing what she felt she had to do. Isn't that what the journey is all about? Ellie, stop working, it's time to eat. Okay, Grandpa Jack, just one last rice plant to go. Aelithia plugged in the rice plant. A smile spread across his face. Come on up here, little Ellie. I'll wipe the bruises off your legs. You're really something too. What's wrong for a girl to do but to help me plant rice seedlings? Geez, Grandpa Jack, you're old. You'll hurt your bones doing this hard work again. Ellie, I'm doing what I can with what I've got. Old Jack took a rag and wiped the bruises off little Ellie's legs. Gollum. At that moment, Alicia's stomach made an indisputable hunger sound. She rubbed the back of her head in embarrassment. Look at you all busy and hungry. Let's go. I made your favorite dish, braised rabbit head, today. Aelithia blinked, like a sly moonbeam. Yeah, I love Grandpa Jack's red bunny head. Ha ha, eat as much as you like. Little Ellie, you need to eat more and more to replenish your body at your age. It'll grow out of it later. Well, listen to Grandpa Jack. Alicia ate her meal beautifully, then grabbed the two men's food bowls and cleaned them up. New book on its knees, begging for readers' basking support. Request for recommendation tickets. Ask for reviews. Requesting 5-star reviews. Don't raise the book. Don't feed the books. Raising books will kill them. Ellie, it's such a pain in the ass. Helping here and there. I don't know. Old Jack said to Ellie in gratitude. What a nice guy. There are still a lot of good people in the world. Unlike the other children in the village. All of them are playful and messy and don't do any work. There was also a Tang San who came out early and stayed late, and had no idea what he was doing day after day. The thought of a group of men being worse than one woman. Old Jack, who was the village chief, was physically and mentally exhausted. When are they going to be as understanding as little Ellie? Tang San, you already have a way to take death. Grandpa Jack, it's a small thing. A smile spread across Alicia's face. Alas, what's wrong? Grandpa Jack, is there something on your mind? Sighing and sighing? Well, if you don't mind speaking graciously. It's going to be hard to hide it inside. Ellie is happy to be a listener. Oh. Alicia shook her head, a smile like a blooming flower on her face. The emotions repressed in Old Jack's mind were released at once. Old Jack froze slightly. Take your time. Alas, little Ellie, you don't know. Today it's our Holy Souls village's turn to awaken our martial souls. The Martial Soul Hall Deacon will help the village awaken their martial souls. There's only one work-study slot per village. I'd love to give it to you, Ai-chan, but I'm responsible for the rest of the village as the village head. It's okay, I'm not from the village, so how can I take one of your places? The work-study place deserves to go to the village. Alicia was unconcerned and still had a reassuring smile on her face. Little Ellie. It was hard on Old Jack's heart. And what a nice person the girl before him was. It's been quite a journey. Grandpa Jack, you just said that today is the day that the Holy Souls village awakens their martial souls, right? Yeah, what's up, little Ellie? I'd like to check it out. Well, that's certainly no problem. The village remembers all the contributions you've made to our village. Old Jack nodded his head in glad agreement. It wasn't like watching the awakening of a martial spirit was a big deal. He's seen this kind of thing for most of his life. From now on, if there's anything you need, just say so, and we'll all do our best to help you. Little Ellie. That won't be necessary. Grandpa Jack's thoughts are accepted by Ellie. Alicia would rather pull through on her own than bother anyone else to help her. Besides, there's nothing in the world that Ellie can't do. If the day comes when it really can't be done, it's not something a bunch of ordinary people can help with. Little Ellie, come with me and take you to the place where the martial soul awakens. It was supposed to be Old Jack who took Tang San to awaken his martial soul, but with Ellie's change of heart, everything has changed. The gears of destiny are turning towards the unknowable because of Ellie. With Old Jack leading the way, Alicia saw from a distance that the village people were gathered around a middle-aged man. This should be the person who awakened the martial soul that Grandpa Jack mentioned. Line up one by one and take your time. As long as they reach the age of 6, they all have the chance to awaken their martial souls. Su Yuntao shouted loudly to maintain the chaotic order. Seeing that the effect was minimal, Su Yuntao had a helpless face and wondered why the Old Jack village chief had not yet come. In the next second, the angry voice of Old Jack's village headman was heard. All of you line up properly and get the hell out of here if you don't listen to the Soul Master Lord. Seeing a bunch of kids still playing and messing around, and thinking about little Ellie but being so understanding, Old Jack was furious. Truly there is no difference without comparison. One in the sky and one on the ground. Can't we just learn from little Ellie? Even learning the skinny is considered good. Under Old Jack's wrath, the group of kids held their temperament and lined up honestly. Village Chief Jack, you're finally here. Su Yuntao let out a long breath, as if he was relieved. There's more than one village awakening on today's mission. There were still a few villages behind him waiting for him to awaken his martial soul, so he wouldn't waste time if he could. Immediately afterward, Su Yuntao's afterimage caught a glimpse of the pink-headed girl beside Old Jack's village head. She was a sight to behold, and was surprised by her lovely appearance. I can't imagine there's a girl as lovely as her. It was as if the princess had come out of a fairy tale. Uncle, are you still not awakening your martial soul? Su Yuntao came back to his senses and couldn't help but add to his impression of Ellie. This kid gives a good impression. Under Ellie's expectant gaze, Su Yuntao began to awaken the martial souls of one child after another. Li Dahua, Martial Spirit Iron Sword, Innate Soul Power Level 1. Zhang Chang, Martial Soul Ho, Innate Soul Power None. Every person can awaken a martial soul, but not everyone has innate soul power that, without innate soul power, one is not qualified to cultivate. Only very few people have innate soul power, but only at 1 or 2 levels, and their martial souls suck. Lifetime achievement is only up to Soul Master. Suyentao shook his head. Unsurprisingly, there wasn't a single good one. However, there are still 2 people present who have not awakened their martial souls. Suyanto's eyes were on Ellie. Let's hope it brings him luck. But before that, let's awaken the martial souls of those in the front of the queue. Take it easy. Take a deep breath to draw out your martial spirit, only to see that a grass was coiled in Tang San's palm. Suyentao glanced at Ding Jin and directly hit Tang San with the death penalty. Waste martial soul blue silver grass. Next, Suyentao didn't expect to spend martial soul blue silver grass to have any soul power anymore. That soul power hasn't been tested yet. Suyentao glanced at Tang San and said coldly, hands on the soul power beads. At that instant, the blue light of the soul power bead shone and bloomed. Suyentao's eyes widened. This is innate full soul power? A wasted martial soul yet possessing innate full soul power. That's so sad. It's a pity. If it was any other martial soul there would still be a use for it, but it's the waste martial soul blue silver grass. Suyentao shook his head inside. Next, Tang San walked away, lost in thought, and stepped aside to watch silently as he wanted to see what martial spirit Ellie would awaken, preferably a wasted martial soul like himself. Jealousy makes a man lose his face. Next, however, there was a delay in coming forward. Suyentao's eyes were puzzled. Strange, wasn't there another girl who hadn't awakened her martial soul? He looked up at Aelithia, and without waiting to speak, old Jack hastened to explain. Soul Master Sama, little Ellie, she is not from the Holy Souls village. It's okay, she's not far behind. At this point in time, Alicia looked at the soul power beads and the props that assisted in awakening her martial soul before she could return to her senses, not even realizing that she was being treated as if she was going to awaken her martial soul as well. Without waiting for her to react, she was pulled by old Jack to awaken her martial soul. By the time Ellie came back to her senses, it was already too late, and the martial soul awakening ceremony was initiated. Wait a minute, what are you waiting for? If you don't awaken your martial soul at this time, when will you wait? The words fell, but when she saw Alicia spreading her hands, the 100-foot-high pink colossal statue hung high above her head. The god looks like her. Suyentao was stunned, subdued by the ponderous silhouette. This, Suyentao stared at his eyes, looking dismayed, rubbing his eyes in disbelief, backpedaling after making sure he didn't look away. After many years of awakening his martial soul, Suyentao had never seen such a big scene. This shouldn't be a wasted martial soul. Suyentao wiped his sweat, being screwed over by the last wasted martial spirit, blue silver grass. This was a brand new martial soul that had never been included in the records of the martial soul hall. Suyentao squatted down and looked at Alicia with soft eyes. Good boy, can you tell uncle what your martial soul is? Alicia blinked. My martial soul is what I call my native martial soul. Good, child, put your hand on the psionic bead. Uncle, in fact, my martial soul was awakened on its own, and also detected innate soul power. Oh, Alicia kindly reminded, but it left Suyentao shaken. Suyentao, sigma degree. What did he hear? Can a martial spirit still awaken on its own? Turning to the martial soul hall martial soul records, there had never been a precedent of autonomous awakening of the martial soul. Sort of making history today. Well, I never thought I'd come across this historic scene in my lifetime. This life is worth it. Suyentao laughed openly, his eyes filled with excitement. He was only a deacon at the lowest level of the martial spirit hall, and it was quite worth it to see this kind of scene. Just then, the awakening stone flickered with a faint light once again, instantly causing Suyentao to freeze in place, and Alicia noticed the awakening stone glowing at her feet with a puzzled look on her face. She remembered that every person who awakened their martial soul would have the awakening stones under their feet glowing, but hadn't one's martial soul already awakened? No, exactly. Ellie's martial soul was autonomously awakened. So, does the awakening stone glow push a possibility to 100%? That was that Alicia still had an unawakened martial spirit. Suyentao's eyes were glaring like bronze bells, and only one word was left in his mind. She is a dual-born martial soul. A pair of pink butterfly wings spread out behind Alicia's back. The color of the two ends of the forewings changes continuously from dark pink, blue, light pink, and the whole surface of the wings is like a string of bright halos inlaid in the pink sky in the shape of a V, bringing light to the earth. Perhaps influenced by Alicia, the original blue color gradually turned into the same hue as her. It is unmatched and impeccably beautiful in shape and color. The white lines on the wings are like jewels set on them, glowing and fascinating. At this moment, Alicia was as beautiful and attractive as she could be. The goddess of light butterfly is possessed only by the most beautiful women in the world. And Aelithia has just that. The combination of the most beautiful martial soul and the most beautiful person was undoubtedly immensely lethal. Looking at the brand new form of Aelithia, Suyentao stammered for words. It was only because the martial soul she had awakened was another brand new martial soul. Another martial soul that was not recorded on the continent. Suyentao wasn't the only one. Everyone else present was subdued by the Aelithia at this moment. Watching the group entranced at her, Aelithia smiled brightly. Hey, wake up everyone, a word to the wise. The crowd, who had returned to their senses, were full of praise for Ellie. Good things happen to good people. I'm so envious. Beautiful and gifted. That's great little Ellie. I can't believe you're so gifted. Surely God does not fail a good man. Old Jack was happy for Ellie from the bottom of his heart. Old Jack wasn't the only one. The vast majority of the people present were happy for Aelithia. There was only one person who was like a shadowy rat, envious and jealous of Aelithia. Jealousy is in the face. Hideous. It's so hard to guess who this person is. Child, what is this martial spirit of yours again? Goddess of light butterfly. Suyentao nodded, secretly writing down the name of the new martial soul so that he could go back to the martial soul hall to record it. With 2 new martial souls a day, this awakening was an unprecedented success. This performance is expected to impact the position of the head of the branch hall. Thinking of this, Suyentao couldn't suppress a smile at the corner of his mouth. The eyes were incredibly soft as they looked at Aelithia. What is your name, child? Would you like to join the martial soul temple? Twin-born martial souls, innate full soul power, carrying out a single item. They were all geniuses that the Palace of Martial Souls wanted. Uncle, my name is Aelithia, and the martial spirit hall you mentioned. I'm sorry, I don't want to join any forces yet. Oh. Suyentao sniffed with a look of regret. It's a shame we didn't recruit a great talent. Still, it was a good way to impress Ellie for a change. Alright, in the future, if there's any trouble feel free to come to the Noden City Martial Soul Hall to look for me. Suyentao. Oh yeah, here's your proof of awakening. Take it. Instead of taking it, Aelithia shook her head. Uncle, I can't take this. She had said she was not from the village and could not hog the village work-study quota. Why? Suyentao was puzzled, and soon realized the answer. His eyes relieved that, patiently explaining it. You're a good boy, and this proves it won't hog the Holy Soul's village work-study quota. The certificate I'll give you will be better than the regular one. With this certificate, you may attend Nodding College, being able to have a dorm room to myself. Thank you, uncle. Knowing that it wouldn't affect the Holy Soul's village quota, Aelithia politely thanked. Received the Soul Master certificate. I don't know if I'll use it, but it certainly won't hurt to take it. Seeing that Ellie wasn't complacent with her dual-born martial soul and innate full soul power, Suyentao appreciated her more and more. That's a makeable talent. Look what a nice guy. Anyone else would have had their tails up in the air. Also courteous, early incarnation of the motherland like do not eat beef. At that moment, old Jack spoke respectfully. Soul Master Senior, the certificate of our village's work-study quota this time is going to be issued to us. Oh yeah, almost forgot. Look at my memory. I can't help it. It's just one thing after another. Long ago, he had forgotten about a wasted martial soul with innate full soul power. If it wasn't for old Jack's reminder, Suyentao would have forgotten that there was such a person. The presence is too low. Tang San, you already have a way to take death. Suyentao's plain words were like silver needles deeply piercing into Tang San's mind. It just feels like pain all over. Lies don't hurt. The truth is the quick sword. Murdering and executing. Tang San exploded with anger. He blamed it all on Aelithia. Without Aelithia, he would be the only one in the village with innate full soul power. Even though it was a wasted martial soul, it at least had some presence. It was the presence of Aelithia that caused him to be overlooked. Tang San would have been able to pretend he didn't hear it and be a shady creep. Nah, it was broken by Suyentao's whole defense. The voice was suspiciously too sharp. Nah, here's a certificate of your village's quota for this year's work-study students. Take this quota certificate and go to Nodding Academy as a work-study student. As the words fell, Tang San let out a sharp popping sound. Asterisk 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 off. I don't need it. Tang San's eyes were bloodshot and he roared hysterically. I don't need your charity. Tang San, what are you doing? How can you say such things that? Why don't you hurry up and apologize to the Soul Master Lord? What's wrong with me? Who am I to apologize? If you hadn't reminded him, he would have forgotten about the mission long ago and all he could think about was that girl. This kind of proof as if it were a handout. Tang San, don't care. Aelithia's beautiful eyebrows slightly raised. How she never expected things to come to this point. Even more so, I didn't think anyone would be hurt because of her. However, this Tang San person, Aelithia could feel that he had full of hostility towards herself. Though Aelithia loved everyone, those who had malice against them, there will never be mercy. Suyentao, who had been reprimanded by Tang San, his face grew more and more ugly. A good mood is spoiled by a brainiac. It's no wonder that it's not for no reason that it awakened the abolished martial soul blue silver grass. Soul Master Lord, you are a generous man. Don't bother with the child in general. I'll apologize for him. Old Jack smiled bitterly. As the head of a village he had to wipe the village's ass. Just as old Jack was about to stoop to his knees, and Aelithia flew to his side to hold up. Grandpa Jack, don't be like that. It's not enough to sin for one person. Su Yuntao looked complicated, took a deep breath, and immediately gave Tang San the proof, coldly humming. For her sake, I won't pursue your problems, but you need to educate the children who don't know any better. The kid is still young. Just beat him to death. JPG. Afterwards, Su Yuntao turned around and left the sacred soul village. Tang San, do you know you're wrong? Old Jack scolded harshly, almost making a big mistake because of Tang San. Tang San gritted his teeth and didn't say a word. If it wasn't for the innate full soul power, if it wasn't for Soul Master Sama selling little Ellie a favor, our village work-study quota was almost hoovered up by you. You even have an unrepentant attitude. Tang San, you've disappointed me too much. Old Jack was a big disappointment. Really not as good as little Ellie by one stick. Alright, Grandpa Jack, don't be angry. Getting angry over this kind of person will only spoil your health. It was obviously a pleasant and moving voice, but in Tang San's ears it was like the murmur of a demon. Tang San broke again. What are you pretending? It's disgusting. Tang San pointed at Ellie and cursed. Shut up, Tang San. Old Jack couldn't suppress his anger any longer. Don't you mind, little Ellie. You're just too kind-hearted, and people are good. If we don't teach him a lesson today, he'll only lose the village's reputation in the future if his character is corrupted. That's right, it's okay to say bad things about anyone, just not about Ellie. Everyone who had been helped by Ellie's eagerness to help in their day, stood up at the moment and fight for her, facing the accusations of the crowd, and also causing public anger. Tang San's forehead broke out in a cold sweat. In order not to be kicked out of the village, Tang San could only lower his head and choose to apologize to put things to rest. Village chief, I know I'm wrong. You don't know it's wrong. You know it's dying. Humph, you know you're wrong? Take me to hold the precepts and perform the village law. Immediately afterward, old Jack took the holding ring in his hand and viciously tortured Tang San's palm, hitting his hands until they were red and hidden spots of blood until. Tang San, don't blame the village chief. I'm doing this for your own good. A sentence successfully nudged Tang San, forcing his heart to break his defense and secretly blacklisting old Jack. It's just a good thing that bad people can be disciplined and reformed. That being said, it's clear that Tang San is not someone who can reform his ways. As a result, Aelithia only found him incorrigible and respected him. Ai-chan, come to my house for dinner tonight. I'll treat you to your favorite pastry. Alicia's eyes twinkled brilliantly and a smile spread across her face. Really? What can I do for you? No. This is a celebration of you, little Ellie. Shouldn't we be celebrating such a big day? Is that so? It's a real pain in the ass. Thank you all. Aelithia was warm and touched inside. Wasn't that what she was hoping for? Everything is going well. To this wonderful world. Surrounded by the crowd, the group went around Ellie. Only Tang San was left alone, out of place in the village. After waiting until there were no more outsiders, Tang San exposed his nature, grimacing, and the eyes looked resentfully in the direction of Aelithia. Why? Why does everyone revolve around you? Why? Just because you're good? Why is it that some men are born bulls and horses, possessing the highest gifts, but awakened the abolished martial spirit blue silver grass? Why? Some people can have dual-born martial souls, full innate soul power, and are being starstruck. Why? At this moment, Tang San's heart twisted. A world where only one person gets hurt is reached. At the celebratory feast, everyone in Holy Soul's village prepared a dish for Ellie. Soon, plates of food were placed on the banquet table, and the main character of the day, Aelithia, was being placated in her seat by old Jack. Gee, Grandpa Jack, just let me help everyone. Old Jack smiled and shook his head. No, little Ellie, I know you mean well. But this is a celebratory feast the village has organized for you. How can we keep the main man busy? The village conditions are a bit more humble, so I'm sorry for your suffering, little Ellie. Ellie waved her hand. Why yes, it's just that aren't everyone's intentions too grand? Ha, it's all home cooking, not worth a few dollars. Don't worry, little Ellie. So, the next celebratory feast was a symbolic walk through the situation by Jack Sr., the head of a village. Then, everyone scrambled to celebrate Aelithia. Everyone toasting Ally with water instead of wine. A beautiful meal on the mat. This earthly fire was what Ellie had hoped to see, and what she had done was worth it. Fighting for a better world. On the contrary, Tang San knew that he also had a dual-born martial soul, and his entire being drifted away. Himself is not at all inferior to Aelithia. with the Tang Sex Jedi complimenting her. What was she going to fight herself with? The next day. Today was Ellie's first month in Holy Souls Village, and it was the longest one she had ever stayed in. Aelithia thought about it for a long time, and finally knocked gently on old Jack's door. Coming. Old Jack pushed the door open. Little Ellie, you're so early again. Good morning, Grandpa Jack. What can I do for you today? No. Old Jack shook his head back and forth. It's not good to keep bothering little Ellie even if there is one. Okay, Grandpa Jack. Little Ellie's got to go. Oh, yeah. Old Jack subconsciously blurted out, followed by a reaction that, snapping her eyes to Aelithia. What? Little Ellie, you're leaving? Yeah. Grandpa Jack, you should know that Ellie travels all over the place. My journey begins again. Old Jack was naturally aware of it, and Ellie had been to several of the surrounding villages. I just didn't realize Ellie was leaving so soon. The time together had not been long, but old Jack had long since considered Ellie a part of the village. The news that she was going away was very hard on old Jack's heart, but one cannot be selfish, and the path of life that belongs to Ellie has just begun. Be good out there, little Ellie. Got it, Grandpa Jack. Soon the news spread about Aelithia's departure from the village. Many people dropped what they were doing and came to the village gate to see her off. Before leaving, Aelithia raised a smile and waved her hand to bid farewell to everyone in the Holy Souls village. Seeing that Ellie was about to leave, old Jack called out sharply, "Little Ellie, wait." Old Jack came hurrying out of the house with a bag in his hand. "Here are my savings and rations as a reward for helping me during this time." Aelithia was about to politely decline, but met old Jack's eyes and swallowed back the words that came to her mouth. It must have hurt Grandpa Jack to turn down a good offer. Grandpa Jack's thoughts. Ellie takes them. Then, seeing that Grandpa Jack still had dry food hanging from his body, Aelithia looked puzzled. "Grandpa Jack, are you going out?" Old Jack smiled bitterly. "Yes. Wasn't there a no-good man in the village who had a work-study qualification that I have to get him to Nottingham?" Notting City? Alicia's eyes twinkled with a shimmering light, and a smirk appeared on her face. "It just so happens that Ellie is going to Notting City too. Grandpa Jack, we are on our way." "Oh, good. It's good to be on the way, and to look out for each other." Old Jack's brow was raised in a smile. "And, with little Ellie, the road should be safe from danger." Under the watchful eyes of countless people in the Sacred Soul Village, Aelithia left the Sacred Soul Village, traveled with Grandpa Jack and his party to the city of Notting. A group of people walked towards Nordine City. The Holy Souls Village wasn't too far away from Nordine City. It took half a day to reach the foot of the city of Notting. Aelithia looked up at the city in front of her, her pink eyes sparkling with bright starlight. This is the city of Notting, as Grandpa Jack called it. The city of Nordine was not large, but it was a borderland, and its walls were built high and thick. The black coloration of the walls is a mark of age in wartime. Aelithia and her party had just lined up for inspection in the city of Notting when they caused quite a commotion. "Wow, Mommy, that sister with the pink hair is so pretty." "Aw." My sister smiled at me. At that moment, Aelithia took out a candy and handed it over, keeping a smile on her face. "Candy, no. Eat." The child in its mother's arms babbled, and the mother shook her head helplessly. Why don't you thank your sister?" Thank you, sister." The child babbled, never able to get the last word out. Mom had to nod at Aelithia, her tone a little apologetic. "I'm sorry, the child is young and just learning to talk." "It's okay, your boy is so cute. He must be a boy." "Yeah." Meanwhile, the image of Aelithia was undoubtedly magnified infinitely in the minds of children. One look at Ellie is a mistake. Soon the hiccups passed and it was the turn of Aelithia and her party to make their inspection before entering the city of Nordine. "Little Ellie, did you come to Notting City to attend the academy?" At Alicia's age, she deserved a full and wonderful childhood at the academy. Yet, she chooses to undertake a journey to do what she feels is worth doing, taking on adult responsibilities at a young age. There was no playfulness in Ellie that should be expected at a tender age. All the good qualities are intertwined in Aelithia, molding her into a flawless human being. Yes, Grandpa Jack. Aelithia knew that she was still weak at the moment, and still needed to further her education at the academy and broaden her horizons. No more about it. After all, Rongrong is just a brief introduction and not comprehensive. If you want to know more, you'll have to learn it at the academy. Little Ellie, study well at the academy and make friends, and Grandpa will come to pick you up at New Year's. Aelithia brightened up. Yes, Grandpa Jack is the best for Ellie. Afterwards, Aelithia asked passers-by a few times and finally arrived at Nordine Academy, a tall arch, which is up to 20 meters wide and 10 meters high. Constructed of hard rock repairs, it has 2 iron-grated gates underneath. In the middle of the archway, a sign stood with the words Nordine Academy. Little Ellie, go. After dropping the man off at Notting College, old Jack was off. Take care, Grandpa Jack. Seeing Grandpa Jack off, Aelithia stomped her lotus feet and greeted the college gatekeeper. Hi guys. The janitor stationed at the entrance to Notting College looked at the sound of the. He was immediately stunned by Alicia's appearance. That there could be such a lovely, moving, clear-eyed girl as she was in this world, as if untainted by the world. Hello there. One of the doormen had a kind smile on his face, and was kind to Aelithia. Why are you running here alone? Little sister? I'm here to attend the academy. Oh yes, little sister, let me see your proof. Seeing the proof handed over by Aelithia, the doorman was shocked and let it go in a hurry. Come in. As for Tang San, who was not far from Ellie behind him, he was directly ignored by the doorkeeper. A shadowy creeper is too inconspicuous before the shining, eye-catching stars. It's not like the academy is just some cat or dog that you can put in there. Seeing that Aelithia walked in, Tang San instantly became anxious and followed suit. However, the next moment the doorkeeper blocked the way. Kid's been watching you for a long time, wearing a raggedy thing and still trying to fish in troubled waters? The academy isn't for some redneck to get into. Get the hell out of here. Your good mood has been nauseated by you. It's bad luck. Tang San's face reddened with anger, his forehead veins popping. Yoo-hoo. You're not convinced, are you? You still want to come to the academy's territory? I think you're tired of living. You bastards. Tang San gritted his teeth, killing intent showing in his eyes. 2 lifetimes ago, his previous life was still an assassination-oriented Tang sect. The doorman already has a way of taking death. Don't you guys just look at her because she's pretty and she talks nice and has a good attitude. What gives you the right to give me a 360-degree spin on my attitude? Why? By what right are they treated differently? Tang Sanhong warmed up, venting the anger in his heart. Obviously they were together. So why was it that Aelithia could get in and he couldn't? Unbeknownst to him, Tang San cursed Aelithia on his lips. The body, however, was honest enough to want to eat the benefits she brought. The double standard is such that it's the reader who thinks about it instead. On the basis of what? Just on the basis that she has a certificate issued by the Martial Spirit Palace in her hand. Do you? This scene, naturally, was seen by Aelithia. This guy is a real troublemaker wherever he goes. Walking inside the Nordine Academy, smelling the youthful energy, a smile filled Alicia's face. As we walked, a group of people blocked the path in front of us. Welcome Cadet Ellie. We are the director and president of the academy. Deacon Soyantayo has already spoken to us in advance. There will be a genius joining Notting Academy. Cadet Ellie, here's the key to your dorm room. The first one on the second floor of the dorm building. Do you need us to show you the way on your first visit to the academy? Aelithia shook her head. No, I can go by myself. Well, I hope Cadet Ellie has a wonderful time at the academy. Thank you. Aelithia responded politely, as the academy leaders watched and, a step towards the dormitory building. Director Su looked at Ellie's back and nodded her head back and forth. No wonder Deacon Su Yuntao spoke so highly of her. Truly a rare genius. Yes, geniuses have their tempers, and she is courteous and of excellent character. It's just so rare and valuable. Soon Aelithia walked into the dormitory building with violent noises coming from her ears. I didn't think it would be noisy on the first day. Really? Ellie followed the voice to the door of the work-study 7th house. Hi guys. Wang Shang looked at the sound and stared wide-eyed, dropping the things in his hands. Asterisk. Are there so many work-study students this year? Or such good-looking girls? Obviously. Wang Shang he mistakenly thought that Aelithia was also a work-study student like them. In reality Ellie just heard the noise and in good faith went to stop it. My name is Dance. As in dance. What's yours? That's an apt name. Did you say my name? Listen carefully. Oh, my name is Aelithia. The moment she saw Aelithia instantly came to her senses and, who wouldn't want to meet a cute girl? Since there's another one here, it's just as well that I haven't had a good fight yet. Aelithia, take that. Only to see. Did a backflip forward and rushed straight towards Aelithia. Really? Come up and fight. As a girl you can't be so mean. New book set sale. Kneel down and ask for reader basking data support. Ask for recommendation votes. Begging for reviews. Asking for a 5-star review. Thanks a million. Aelithia sprouted brilliant pink wings on her back and dodged Dance's chop with a sideways move. A girl's family can't be so violent. It's not too late to split the difference. Aelithia sighed slightly. It can only be solved by force. Beware. In order not to hurt the cute girl Aelithia didn't dare to use her full strength, and only used 20.5%. Nonetheless, was no match for Ellie at all. Too nimble to touch her. Damn it. Don't fly if you dare. Unable to hit anyone in a row. Unable to even touch a hair. Xiao Dance herself was exhausted. It was only a matter of time before this fight was undoubtedly won by Ellie. You can basically be invincible with air superiority and can't lose a point. Don't be angry. Girls don't look good when they're angry. Aelithia kept her smile, her tone tinged with a few flirtatious hints. Ellie's smile was certainly something that made Mai feel worse than if it killed her. Seeing Mai on the verge of a breakdown, Aelithia knew she couldn't tease any longer. Otherwise it's going to be a lot of crying and fussing and coaxing. I'm coming. With a flash, Aelithia took Mai's hand and let her into the air. It all happened so fast that Xiao Dance didn't even have time to react. By the time he reacted, he was already in the air. Put me down. Put me down. I admit defeat. I admit defeat. The boss's seat is yours. Little Dance directly admitted defeat as she closed her eyes, not daring to open them at all. She's afraid of heights. The face gradually paled. Seeing this, Aelithia hurriedly landed on the ground with a concerned look on her face. Are you okay? Mai opened her eyes and let out a long breath. The next thing she knew, she saw Alicia's face close at hand, and Mai's pretty face slightly reddened as she, not daring to look directly into her gleaming eyes. I'm fine. Just then, another person came to the door of the 7th house of the work-study students. Boo! Tang San had just walked in when he saw the last person he wanted to see. The calm heart of the moment stirred again, pointing at Aelithia. You're not a work-study student. What are you doing in the work-study dorm? Ha! The former was the wail of Wang Shang and the other boys. Who thought that the dormitory would have a beautiful maiden as the boss from now on? It also feeds the eyes. I didn't realize she wasn't a work-study student at all. The latter was a small dance of surprise. Aelithia didn't care about Tang San and looked toward Xiao Dance. Hey, what's got you guys down? Never got a chance to tell you guys. I just came over here when I heard the noise. Oh, after all that, it turned out to be a farce. Ugh, if only it was a work-study student. Ah shucks, the work-study student doesn't deserve the boss. Living this is condescending to the boss. Wang Shang quickly changed his words. As for Tang San, Plum's been overlooked. I was ignored 3 times, once by Soyan Taio, twice by the janitor, and a 3rd time by the work-study students in the dormitory. Tang San's lungs exploded with anger. Every time it's because of Aelithia. Every single time. Why does everyone say she's good? Why am I always the one who gets hurt in the end? Why? Tang Dynasty, 618 to 907. Aelithia, I'm going to challenge you to a duel. As the words fell, Wang Shang was the first to step forward. Who are you? The new work-study student? I thought you said she wasn't a work-study student. Since she's not a work-study student, why do we still have to follow the rules of the 7 houses? Just now it was just an accident. And oops, once is enough. You want a 2nd time? Scram! Tang San grimaced, not bothering to waste words with Wang Shang. Beep. What a face for you. Wang Shang, who was already holding his breath, was instantly enraged. He was unable to beat Xiao Dai, couldn't beat Aelithia either, could always beat a little Yakuza. In the next moment, the sleeve arrows flew out and shot towards Wang Shang, just as if he wanted to put someone to death. What a cruel heart. Aelithia transformed into a stream of light and grabbed the sleeve arrow that nearly killed Wang Shang. Wang Shang was so scared that he sat down on the ground with a poof. How could he not expect a good fight to cut through it almost rose to murder. At the same time, Wang Shang was grateful to Aelithia. If it hadn't been for Ellie, I'm afraid I'd have been a corpse. At this moment, Alicia's originally smiling face came to an abrupt end and gradually became grave. Eyes full of disgust towards Tang San. It was the first time Aelithia had ever felt disgusted with a person. Obviously, the people of the Holy Souls village were quite good, but there was an evil person. At such a young age, you have the heart to kill, and even play with concealed weapons. How can you grow up? Grandpa Jack's holding didn't reform you. Then I'll advance Grandpa Jack's discipline today. You are nothing. You're nothing but an outsider. Why should everyone be nice to you? Why? Tang San roared hysterically, venting the injustice in his heart. On what grounds? Just because I'm nice to people. Good to people. Good to people. Ha ha. Tang San laughed up to the sky. At this point, the recovered Xiao Dai stood up for his little brother Wang Shang, as well as Ellie. What's wrong with you? We're all classmates, or housemates. How could you do it? Are you still human? And you said that Ellie, although we've known each other for a short time, but I do honestly think she's a wonderful person. Unlike some people who kill at the drop of a hat, and I don't know who taught them that. Lies don't hurt. The truth is the quick sword. I don't know why. Tang San's heart twinged, and the words that came to his mouth froze and he couldn't say them to Xiao Dance. Don't even get me started on this feeling of suffocation. That's not the worst of it, though. The hardest part was that Tang San's internal angina was much more intense than before. Weren't you just very articulate? What? Playing dumb? Not talking? Oh, I see you're picking on soft persimmons. So you're a bully and a wimp. Little Dance crossed her arms, pointing at Tang San and cursing him with no temper at all. Didn't even have the courage to retort. At that moment, Aelithia reached out and put her hand on Mai's shoulder. Well, don't say dirty words again. Oh, as a pretty girl, you shouldn't be so mean yet. Pretty girls talk dirty. Ellie will be sad. Oh. Alicia murmured in a low voice attached to Mai's ear. A light smile if anything spreading across her face. Mai was a little giddy throughout being accosted and flirted with by Ellie. Wooden responded. Ah. Oh. Seeing that Mai wasn't teasing, Alicia turned around magnificently and looked at the crowd. Alright everyone, step back. This is a feud between Ellie and him. It has nothing to do with you. I don't want my friends' housemates to get caught in the crossfire. And I don't want anyone to get hurt over something that doesn't matter. Alicia had never been heavier today, and her tone of voice had changed. Under Alicia's gaze, Wang Shang, Xiao Dance and the others stepped back and, keep backing up until you reach the corner, leaving a field big enough for Alicia to fight Tang San. Come on. Alicia turned to look directly at Tang San, her expression no longer friendly but hostile. Such people are truly disgusting to the core. Tang San took a deep breath and grinned. Alicia, let's show you what a true genius is today. There's a cloud of difference between geniuses and geniuses. Both of them are just as innately full of soul power, and just as twin-born martial souls, but one has to have one thing more than Alicia herself. Tang Clan Jedi. One more thing than Alicia. And what does she have to fight herself with? Tang San felt good about himself, thinking that he had already won half of it. Unbeknownst to him, what would follow would be the doom that would envelop Tang San for the rest of his life. Would go crazy over it and retaliate against Ellie. Tang San stepped on Ghost Shadow Misty Steps and circled around Alicia, shooting sleeve arrows from time to time. Whoosh! A sleeve arrow was shot at Alicia in all directions, meant to shoot Ellie into a sieve. The shocking scene was a gut-wrenching sight to watch, and the crowd couldn't help but sweat for Ellie. Even though they had only met once, they didn't want to see the beautiful, kind-hearted girl lose her life. Especially Mai's eyes straightened. Ellie, you must not be okay. As she watched the sleeve arrow hit Ellie, she saw pink butterfly wings grow on her back, and in a magnificent turn, spinning with his wings to deflect the incoming sleeve arrows. Elegant, too elegant. The more he highlighted Ellie's beauty, the darker Tang San's face became, gloomy and ugly. Damn it. Tang San was like a sewer rat, jealous of the wonderful people in the world. In order to win this duel, Tang San urged out the blue-silver grass, despite all odds, stretching towards Alicia. Block off your space and I'll see how you can dodge the sleeve arrows. Tang San continued the path he started with, shooting out sleeve arrows at no dead ends. It's blue and silver grass. Blue honeysuckle blocks space to walk and sleeve arrows to attack. It was indeed a dead end for any other trainee, but it was not hard for Alicia at all. There's only so much you can do with that one. A smile raised on Alicia's face as she held the bowstring in her hand and gave it a gentle pull. First soul skill, flower and birds vector. This arrow carries the chirping of birds and the wafting of petals. The chirping shook off the sleeve arrows, the petals pierced the blue-silver grass, and the arrow shot straight at Tang San. This is a soul skill? Tang San grimaced, his pupils dilated and, in his heart, he roared, Ghost Shadow Misty Steps. No matter how much Tang San performed Ghost Shadow Misty Steps and adjusted his position, he couldn't get rid of this arrow. As if it had long eyes, it locked Tang San firmly in place, unable to shake it off. Time passed by, and Tang San's stamina was overwhelmed by this arrow. Boo! Tang San slammed down heavily on the ground, a mouthful of blood spraying all over the place, his eyes carrying unwillingness. No way. This can't be. I lost to a woman. Tang San's eyes were lifeless as he lay on the ground, and he was armed with the Tang sect's greatest skill. By what right can't you beat Alicia? On what grounds? Could it be that the Tang sect's mastery really doesn't work in this world? No, it won't. It just hasn't been refined to perfection yet. As long as you give yourself plenty of time to refine it to perfection and pair it with all the realms, there's got to be a way to beat Aelithia. I don't know that I can't beat them now, but I can't beat them even more later. Soon. But commotion caused by the work-study dormitory attracted the college teachers. What's going on? What are you doing in your work-study dorm? Teacher, she's trying to kill me. Tang San pointed at Alicia, the first to speak up and dump the black pot on Ellie, a face of evil. You don't say. Tang San pretended to be as decent as a roadside strip. There's one thing to be said for those who don't know the whole story. After all, it's too deceptive to be lying on the ground bleeding all over the place. At the same time, Xiao Dance heard Tang San's wickedness. He was furious. How could there be such backward scum in the world? How's that for a mannequin? What a little birth! Wang Shang and the others looked embarrassed, greeting Tang San's ancestors affectionately countless times. What? Murder? The teacher froze slightly, and following Tang San's finger that pointed away, he saw a small, white, beautiful face that, fluffy pink hair. This distinctive appearance was quickly associated with the fact that a supreme genius had come to the academy. Cadet Ellie? For a moment, the teacher had mixed feelings inside and couldn't decide what to do. Considering Alicia's natural talent, the teacher said with a forced smile, You went to school together. This should be some kind of misunderstanding. There's no misunderstanding. It's just that she's trying to kill me. And if you hadn't come, teacher, I'd be dead. Tang San hurriedly opened his mouth, trying to put a cap on Aelithia. You fart. Listening to Tang San splashing dirty water one after another, the acute little dance cursed on the spot. Teacher, listen to me. He's just a little birth that turns black and white upside down. Don't fall for his bull asterisk 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 asterisk. He was clearly the first to strike and kill. And if it hadn't been for Ellie, she'd have turned the tables for Wang Shang. Otherwise his body would already be lying on the ground. Yes, teacher, I'm the one involved. Just now Tang San used his sharp weapon to kill me. Teacher, we can all testify. The silent housemates raised their hands and testify to Dance's words. This, with so many people testifying, the teacher was silent for a long time and looked up at Aelithia. Look at that lovely appearance. Those clear, flawless eyes. A man like that would kill someone? No matter how you think about it, it doesn't seem possible. Okay. Combined with the testimony of a dormitory, it can be concluded that Tang San is dumping the pot and turning black and white upside down. Murder, perversion of black and white. Just one of those is enough to make a cadet roll over and leave. Still saving for New Year's? With such bad behavior at such a young age, it is advisable to find the next academy. The small temple of Notting College could not afford this great god. These are just the true thoughts of the teacher's heart. But what exactly is to be done? Instead, the academy's top brass gave it a lot of thought. He's just a teacher who teaches, and his low status doesn't represent the college. Your name is Tang San, right? Come with me to the faculty office. Well, and the party in question. Wang Shang, as well as Aelithia, you guys trouble yourselves to go with the teacher. Okay, teacher. X2. Don't bother. I'm coming. A thick, elderly voice came from the distance. And the person who came was none other than the Dean of Nordine Academy. Dean, I heard all about it just now. So, what does Dean want to do with us? Aelithia cocked her head slightly and make a killer smile at Dean. Ellie's smile was like a beam of light on a foggy day, leading those who were traveling forward. Looking at both Aelithia and Tang San, Dean had quite the headache to grow a brain. Both of them were innately full of soul power, and neither of them had bad talent. One almost killed Wang Shang, and the other almost killed Tang San. Both men made the same mistake, but the subjectivity of each was completely different. One kills with malice and one kills in good faith. As president of the academy, he had to preside over a fair and just punishment. This incident is extremely bad in nature. Not too small and not too big. Given the reputation of genius, it's natural not to lay down major penalties. Your name is Tang San, right? Tang San, who was lying on the ground, nodded and spoke respectfully. Yes, everything is at your disposal, Dean. Good. You don't have to come back to the academy from now on. You're expelled. Good, replied Tang San subconsciously, only to react immediately afterward, his pupils shrinking violently. Exclaimed out. What? Dean, you're kicking me out? Fire me? I'm a once-in-a-century genius with innate full soul power. Tang San was incredulous. He had thought that he could rely on his talent too. There is no way the college can sentence itself to a major penalty. However, imagination is beautiful and reality is bone dry. Donnie was fired. Dean, you can't do this. What? Didn't you say Tang San was at the dean's disposal? Want to go back on your word? No. Tang San lowered his head, and at that moment remembered that didn't Aelithia want to kill herself as well? Is it the same punishment as your own? Fired all the same? Thinking of this, the original bad mood was instantly better, and a touch of ecstasy appeared on his face. You can't beat Aelithia yourself, but you can disgust her. That's half the battle won. Worth it, so worth it. Dean, so is she like me? However, the dean selectively ignored Tang San's questioning and managed to get him promoted to the 4th degree of ignoring. His eyes softened as he looked at Aelithia and spoke murderous words. Cadet Ellie, are you okay? Tang San? No. This isn't right. That's not at all what I thought it would be. It's not a mistake. Doesn't Aelithia have the same motive for murder as I do? Why are you making a distinction? Or maybe it's just plain caring? Well, it must be. However, Tang San was going to be disappointed again. Dean, Ellie's fine. Dean nodded repeatedly. I'm glad it's okay. I'm glad it's okay. Cadet Ellie, get some rest when you get back. There's nothing more for you to do here. Well, thank you, Dean, for your concern. Tang San? It's not. There's really nothing going on at all, is there? Well, Dean, did you do it on purpose or by accident? Tang San's anger tugged at his wounds, causing him to grimace in pain. Dean, aren't you being unfair? The dean glanced at Tang San with an indifferent expression, then averted his gaze, a look full of dislike. Unfair? This started with you. You started the killing. Cadet Ellie was only putting up a defense to protect the others from you. Is there a problem? No problem. Put. Tang San sprayed out a mouthful of blood, his face turning white with anger. This scene was a relief to watch Little Dance and the others. Ha ha, Tang San, you're evil one day, evil all your life. Evil people have evil rewards. This is a blessing that belongs to you, Tang San. You wouldn't have thought you'd end up like this. Luckily, the dean was wise enough not to let scum like you stay at the academy as a work-study student. You're an insult to the title of work-study student, and it's bad luck to meet you. Wang Shang sneered at Tang San. Ellie still got off light and didn't waste him. Listening to the crowd's taunts, Tang San's veins flared up, secretly keeping those present in his mind. Write it down in a little book. Today's shame he remembered. 30 years east of the river. 30 years west of the river. Don't kid yourself. In the future, Tang San will return the favor 100-fold. Not one of you will escape. All of you will die. At the same time, in a place no one knew about. A middle-aged man with a face full of vicissitudes of life. Shake your head and sigh. Alas, can't even calm down this bit of air. It's hard to become a great man. It's really a disgrace to the Tang family. The work-study dormitory storm started, and Tang Hao saw it all. The crap that goes on over a name. To prove who the real genius is. Aelithia. It's a nice name and a nice person with a good heart. The good deeds done by the Holy Souls village around Aelithia. Even if Tang Hao, who was staying at home, had heard about them slightly. After all, every day I hear people in the village talk about Ellie and what a wonderful child she is. Tang Hao couldn't figure it out. Really couldn't figure it out. What the hell was wrong with his son? Why was he so prejudiced against Aelithia? Obviously. What a nice person. And there is nowhere to offend him. Right. And did not do anything wrong to him. Right. It can't be malicious jealousy of her people. Actually, it's not hard to understand. After all, what kind of person was Tang San? Hypocritical, double-standard hypocrite, etc. These are all synonymous with him. Just a rat crawling in a dark corner. How can it see the light of day? And Aelithia was the light of the one righteous path. So flawless that it shone in Tang San's face. At that moment, the facepalmed man dressed in black arrived in a hurry. Teacher. After seeing the silhouette of the visitor, Tang San burst into hot tears. That's great. The teacher comes and must be able to do it for himself. Will it win? It's going to win. What brings you here? Master? Dean. Tang San is the disciple I took in. Can you spare him this time for my sake? The dean frowned, thinking that the master hadn't done anything at the academy to. It's been years of just mucking about. Pure and simple, a teacher who doesn't do his job. How could someone like this even take someone as a disciple? What a rarity. These dog masters and disciples are all in the same boat. It's not a family. It's best to tie it up so that you don't have to hobble someone else. A disciple you took in? You accept this kind of evil person? I see that you're a man of God, too. It wouldn't be the same as him, would it? Little Dance crossed her arms and taunted the two of them. Tang San and Yu Xiaojiang. Mai then asked Aelithia for credit. Ally, do you see that I'm not swearing anymore? Alicia smiled and petted Mai's head. Yeah. Not swearing is progress. That's what a good girl should be. He. For some reason, Mai was enjoying Alicia's head touching. It was as if her hand had some kind of magic power, deeply attracting Mai. It got her too deep for her to get out of it. Little Dance's words were not very lethal, but they were extremely insulting. A tough guy who wants to be strong is straight up redworm. The slightly tanned face darkened even more and his hands clenched hard. This cadet should not slander others with empty words. Poof. Little Dance clasped her hands on her chest, not giving Yu Xiaojiang any face. When master is lazy and discipline your disciples poorly, any way you look at it, master is responsible, right? Yu Xiaojiang's fists hardened even more, grimacing and twisting his head to look at the dean. Dean, I vouch for myself and promise Junior won't do it again. If he does it again, then it's me and Junior expelled from the academy together. Is that okay with you, Dean? The dean looked at each other, and for a moment was guilty of being caught in a difficult decision. Seeing Dean hesitate, Aelithia pursed her lips. Dean, I think it's okay. Ellie continues to look out for people and doesn't want to get anyone in trouble. She's really super nice. It's such a nice guy, but there's a shady creep who is jealous and hates. Teach your disciple well and reform him soon. Don't worry, I'll definitely double my teaching when we get back, and I'll make sure he's reformed. I don't realize that if you are evil one day, you are evil all your life. The rivers and mountains are easy to change and Tang San's nature is so changed. It's rotten oranges after all. Rotten from the start. Can't change a thing. Seeing that Yu Xiaojiang was about to take Tang San away, he suddenly remembered something. By the way, said Yu Xiaojiang, turning around and gazing deeply at Aelithia. Squeeze as gentle a smile on his face as he can. You're Cadet Ellie, aren't you? As far as I know you are a dual-born martial soul, and both of them are martial souls that are not recorded on the continent. Teacher, I for one have been focusing on the martial soul as a discipline for many years. if you are willing to be my disciple, with me treating you right, you'll only achieve more in the future. Really give you face. Little Dance couldn't help it. This old piker wasn't a good person by the looks of him. It also took in a villainous Tang San. Now it's good that they still want to collect Aelithia. Xiao Maizi was the first to say no. It's not sending Ellie to the fire. Strongly disagree. Yu Xiaojiang's face changed slightly. That's where you're wrong. It's not like you're an Ellie cadet. It's not like you make the decisions. Do you want Cadet Ellie to have a bumpy career as a soul master from now on? I'm sparing my talent. Yu Xiaojiang had a face that looked out for Aelithia. What is actually on his mind knows what he is all about. Don't you just want to use the apprentice to prove that theory? But does Zito have to be about talent? That's just being a lazy master trying to get twice the result with half the effort. Or maybe it's just trying to borrow an apprentice to make a name for himself. Obviously, Yu Xiaojiang is one of these people. Ellie, you absolutely can't agree to him. I couldn't say it to Yu Xiaojiang. Turning his head, he persuaded Ellie. Aelithia smiled faintly and stroked Mai's rabbit head. Don't worry about it. I know how to do it. As heartwarming as your words are, Ellie can't say yes. Ellie's road is to be traveled alone. Even if the road ahead is hard and difficult, I'm going to find ways to overcome it all instead of being paved with smooth sailing by someone else. Ellie wants to witness this colorful journey. It's going to be wonderful and beautiful. Yu Xiaojiang was momentarily stumped by Ellie's retort. I don't know what to say. Only shaking his head, he silently led Tang San away. Ha, that's gone? Don't go. I want to see you guys get your asses handed to you more. Mai beamed. Sweet voice but like a venomous tone. Hearing the cynicism coming from behind her, Yu Xiaojiang stumbled and nearly fell. He came with a great deal of energy, and left with a look of wretchedness. As soon as Yu Xiaojiang and the others left, the teacher and the dean followed right behind and left as well. You, what a poisonous mouth. Aelithia nudged down Mai's head. Unexpectedly, she was countered by Mai. Then I'm external too, not internal. Saying that, Mai winked wildly at Aelithia. Aelithia froze slightly, not realizing that she had been liaoed by her instead. Think you can't lose in this area. How about abducting Mai? Girls should just stick together and sleep together. Immediately, Aelithia digressed. Mai, you live in the work-study dormitory? Yeah. Hiss. It's over. It's over. Mai suddenly remembered something important and, showing a raw face. What's wrong? Is there something on your mind you can tell Ellie? It's hard to keep it inside. I'm happy to listen to pretty girls tell their troubles. I came in a hurry and didn't bring a blanket, so I won't be able to get a good night's sleep tonight. Oh, didn't bring a quilt. Wait, I don't think I brought a quilt myself. It's bad. I'm just like myself. Don't laugh at anyone. If you don't have a quilt, you don't have a quilt. Well, it's time to snub it. Why don't you sleep with me? My Sigma, surprised face, winky face. This is the wrong topic, isn't it? That's half as bad as me not having a quilt. And, why are you sleeping with Ellie? Even though she's a little nicer and prettier looking. But that's no reason to sleep together. What? Too embarrassed to sleep with Ellie? Well then, the quilt that warms the seasons is leaving you. Oh, Mai's heart shook. Quilt? Yeah. Oh, Ellie, she must have a quilt. Doesn't sleeping with her yourself equate to having a quilt yourself? Well, two girls sleeping together is no big deal. It's not like it's a man and a woman. Unbeknownst to him, Xiao Dai was like a lamb to the slaughter. One step into a trap designed by Ellie, and she had her to thank for it. Where do you live, Ellie? Mai asked curiously. Isn't she a work-study student who lives with other people? Live in the first room on the second floor of the dormitory building. A single dormitory. Single dormitory. That good? Mai stared wide-eyed, her heart filled with mixed feelings. What kind of work-study student are you? You live with a bunch of people. Still not hugging Ellie's thighs and following her. No more than two people living together, which is more than a little better than a mixed group. At that moment, Wang Shang let out a startled cry. Whoops, are you in such good condition, Ellie-san? It's really nice that geniuses are treated like geniuses. There has never been a precedent for a cadet to have a single dormitory at Nanning Academy. Not even a teacher. Hearing Wang Shang say this, Xiao Dance reacted as an afterthought. It turns out that the single dormitory alone loves Lia. Mai's eyes glowed, and she clung directly to Alicia's arm. Ellie, please, just let me live with you. Okay, you're so lonely alone. One more isn't much. A faint smile spread across Alicia's face. Of course, it's an honor for Ellie to live with a beautiful girl. 2. Getting Alessia's approval. Mai's mouth curled up to the sky and, already fantasizing about how awesome it would be to live in a single dorm. Hi, hey, Aelithia shouted 3 times in a row, pulling Mai's thoughts back. What happened to Ellie? Giggle, let Ellie think about what you were just thinking. Is it thinking about how nourishing it is in a single dormitory? Being mercilessly poked and prodded by Aelithia, Mai's face reddened as if she were an apple. There was if anything a vapor overhead. I didn't. My stammered, attempting to defend herself, without realizing how vain she had to be at the moment. Really? Aelithia came up to my ear and gently blew a breath, feeling the sound of breathing close at hand, and the fresh scent of Ellie alone. The originally flustered my gradually calmed down. Ellie's scent is reassuring. JPG. Of course it's true. That's a shame then. Ellie thought you'd be fantasizing about a nice life with you and I alone. My bad. She's become a roundworm in my stomach. Gollum. At that exact moment, Xiao Dance's stomach gave an indisputable growl. Aelithia tilts her head slightly, squinting and smiling. Hungry? It just so happens that I haven't eaten yet for the night. Do you want to go to the Unending cafeteria for dinner together? My rubbed her parched stomach, no longer sticking to her modesty. Heaven and earth are not as big as filling your stomach. Yeah. Aelithia smiled slightly and took Mai's hand and, after asking Wang Shang how to get to the cafeteria, he walked towards the cafeteria. Ellie nodded her head in greeting to all the students she met along the way. The move is used as a flat A, and kills straight through all the way to capture a group of trainees. I've got a good one. 10 seconds. I want the name of the girl I just saw. When did the academy get such a good-looking schoolgirl? I can't believe I didn't know. So cute. Just my dream girl. You fart. A dog's mouth can't spit out ivory. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that from you. Dead scum die a death. You deserve to tarnish this flower. Yeah. Teacher, I've come to my senses. I finally know what it means to come out of the mud. This woman should only be found in heaven, and is rarely heard of on earth. It's over. I suddenly feel like the last school beauty is inferior to her. The participants around her were talking about Aelithia, causing Mai to beep her mouth along the way. The look was a little disgruntled. She wasn't sure why she was like this, as if she regarded Ellie as her own. No one else is allowed to get involved. On the contrary, Aelithia kept a smile on her face and seemed to be pleased with the crowd's comments. Today was Ellie's first day at the academy, and she didn't expect to be welcomed and loved so quickly. What a wonderful thing to do. Not long after, the two women walked into the cafeteria of Unending Academy. At the same time, the group of trainees behind them also poured into the cafeteria, surrounding the cafeteria with people. Seeing that the situation was going in a bad direction, Aelithia stopped in her tracks and, turning to the crowd, he flashed a smile. Hello everyone, my name is Aelithia. Please can we not disturb the students eating in the cafeteria? Don't affect the order of the cafeteria? You don't say. The dry rice students can't even react in time, just to be surrounded by a group of people somehow. Who wants to eat here? Immediately afterward, surrounded by the crowd, the protagonists who had caused this overcrowding were soon to be seen. He was joined at once. However, after hearing some more words from Aelithia, the crowd was slightly more rational and stopped disrupting the order of the cafeteria. One by one, they're talking about coming up with names. The final consensus was that Aelithia is such a great and beautiful name. Ellie was relieved to see that her persuasion had worked. Thank you all for your cooperation. Politely grateful for the crowd, Aelithia took Mai's hand and walked to the cafeteria exit to get her meal. Hello auntie, any recommendations for something good to eat tonight? Aelithia winked, her voice sweet. Hello, classmates. We have the college's signature dish of sweet chicken tonight. Do you want it? Sweet chicken? Sure. Ellie wants to try a new flavor. So what kind of food do you want? Auntie, you pick and clip. Ellie is not a picky eater. Oh, what's there to eat? Growing up, Aelithia developed the habit of not being picky about what she ate. She understands deeply how hard food is to come by. It was all the fruit of the hard work of the farmers in the village. So how could Ellie bear to waste it? Aelithia looked to Mai beside her. What about you? Mai, what do you want to eat? In fact, Mai didn't know what to eat, and instantly chose to do the same as Ellie. I'm like you Ellie, I guess. I didn't eat anything my first time at Unending Academy. Try it to my liking. Ellie smiled and nodded. Auntie, please make it too. Auntie Beefy nodded repeatedly. Good. I don't know if it was out of Ellie's politeness, or if it was her charm. Auntie Beefy's habit of having shaky hands has changed. Instead of shaking hands, the hand that punches the meal fills the lunchbox. This scene adored so many people. The air shakes cold. The dinner-beating aunt finally stopped her hands from shaking. Mom no longer has to worry that I won't get enough to eat and starve at the academy. At that moment, Alicia's voice sounded again. By the way, Auntie, I want to ask if the cafeteria has braised rabbit head? It's Ellie's favorite dish. Xiaomai, Sigma degree. It's not. What did she just hear? Favorite dish, braised rabbit head? Mai broke down inside. Her true identity was the 100,000-year-old soul beast soft bone rabbit. Years aside, let's just say that Dance is not a rabbit. At once, everything became clear to Mai. No wonder Ellie liked to touch her head so much. Not for nothing. Thinking about this, Mai gulped in fear. making up her mind never to reveal her identity in front of Elia. Otherwise it'll be a 100,000-year-old braised rabbit head. What's wrong, Mai? I see that you don't seem to be feeling too well. I'm fine. Dance stumbled, her tone a little timid. Alicia's beautiful eyebrows raised slightly. She could clearly feel that Mai was nervous at the moment. Since she wouldn't say anything, she wasn't going to force the issue. After all, everyone has their own secrets. Even Ellie, she had her own secrets that she didn't mention to anyone. But Ellie was sure that one day the prom would be honest with herself. Classmate, your meal is ready. The voice of Auntie Brewer pulled Ellie's thoughts back. Thank you, Auntie. How much for the 2 meals, please? Auntie Beatrice waved her hand. No. You're a new trainee, aren't you? Think of it all as a treat from your aunt. That's not good. Auntie, Alicia cried and laughed a little. You really have convenience everywhere yourself. It's fine. It's not worth a few bucks. The sky is falling and there are colleges that have a roof over their heads. It's not my turn. I don't know, joked Auntie Beefy. New book in the recommended spot. Don't feed the book. Don't feed the book. Kneel down and ask for reader basking data support. Ask for recommendations. Ask for reviews. Ask for 5-star reviews. Ask for monthly tickets. Request for reward. Ellie had a lunchbox in one hand and placed it close to the unoccupied table. Looking over at the wandering Mai, he couldn't help but reach out and nudge the bridge of her nose. Thinking about what? No, nothing. Aren't you rumbling with hunger? Why don't you eat? Look at how thin you've gotten. Ellie's heart is aching to see it. Little Dance beamed and was anemic for a second. I'm a natural type that can't get fat, okay? Where's the skinny? Good. Eat it, but don't let it get cold. The 2 beautiful girls ate quietly while a crowd watched from a distance. This spectacular sight is arguably unique to Notting College. Just then, a male senior came out of the crowd and, walking right up to the table of the 2 girls, Ellie and Mai. Hello, Ellie Senpai. I am Xiao Qingyu, known by the nickname Boss Xiao. Oh, and then what? Alicia looked up at her partner and continued to eat the sweet chicken. Xiao Qingyu rubbed the back of his head and, in the past, when they reported their names to come one by one, they would actively offer their services, but as a result, this time they missed the mark. But thinking that it was Ellie's first day in Notting Academy, she should not recognize her name. Ahem, schoolgirl Ellie, I, Xiao Qingyu, am a single-handed person in the academy. There would be nothing I wouldn't dare to do. If you hang out with me, you'll have a great time at the academy. The days are as nourishing as they can be. It's obvious that Xiao Danyu wants to get up close and personal, draw closer to each other with Alicia. That little trick didn't work on Ellie. Who let the person Xiao Qingyu met was Alicia. Thank you, Xiao student, for your kind words. But Ellie, I for one can't say yes. Oh, ha, I knew that you, Ellie's schoolmate, would. Xiao Qingyu laughed in triumph. It was only immediately afterward that he reacted with hindsight. What? You, Ellie senpai, you refused? Why? Isn't it obviously a good thing? In the past, as long as Xiao Qingyu said it, there wasn't a single one who didn't agree to it, and they all followed him to mix food and drink, living like a prince at the academy. After all, he was the only son of the Lord of Notting City, who would dare to disobey him, and no one dared offend him. This time, however, it was at Alicia's expense. Can you leave us alone for dinner? Does it bother you? Xiao Dance didn't have Ellie's good temper, and turned viciously towards Xiao Qingyu. Like a small rabbit about to rise up and hurt someone. Xiao Qingyu smiled with an awkward expression. Since schoolmate Ellie doesn't agree to, I'll leave you 2 to eat then. With that, Xiao Qingyu put on a self-conscious pose and, sashaying away out of the crowded cafeteria. Following close behind was a group of minions. What are you doing, Boss Xiao? Boss Xiao, no one has ever dared to turn you down. Do you want us to tie her up? I'm sorry, one of the minions suggested stupidly. Xiao Qingyu was furious when he heard it, and directly chopped his head. That's a good point, and next time you won't be allowed to say that. Do you have any idea what an Ellie schoolgirl is to me? Count on what, Boss Xiao? Bunch of idiots, too lazy to explain everything to you in a long-winded manner. You don't even understand that? The people they've taken in are no less than a bunch of straight men of steel. In Xiao Qinyu's eyes, schoolmate Ellie was undoubtedly a ray of light in his life. A thumping light. The knitted brows and smile are so moving. Xiao Qingyu has never seen the world. Has Ellie this kind of person? Worthy of this woman should only be on the sky. It's a rare thing to hear on earth. Alicia had undoubtedly become Xiao Qinyu's white moonlight. Oh no, to be precise, to be the white moon of most of the people at Notting Academy. Unattainable. One look at Ellie holding on for dear life. She's the most beautiful person I've ever seen, Xiao Qingyu muttered. At the same time, 99% of the people outside the cafeteria in the cafeteria. It was unanimously agreed that Sister Ellie was the most beautiful of the current crop of cadets at Notting Academy. All the other female cadets in comparison paled in comparison to Ellie. And yet, there was this one man in the cafeteria eating his meal in silence, his hand clenched in death and his eyes hateful. The shadowy reptiles never cease to abuse, curse, and resent. It's so hard to guess who this person could be. It's delicious. Ellie squinted her little eyes with a contented look on her face. With a cute girl, to keep her company, and a delicious meal, could Ellie not be satisfied? She really wanted every day to be as happy and positive as today. Eat and drink. Let's go home. Smiley face. Why did I have the nagging feeling that there was something in Ellie's words? But again, there is no substantial evidence to prove it. Let's go. Aelithia took Mai's hand, and with brisk little steps, she headed towards the second floor of the dormitory building. A few moments later, the two women walked inside Ellie's single dormitory. What came into view was a large two-roomed room, though not as large as the work-study dormitory, but Sheng and no one else. Ellie went into the bedroom first thing, and saw the bed neatly covered with folded quilts. Her hanging heart dropped. It's good to have a quilt, but it didn't matter that there was no quilt. After all, if you're here, you're sure to stay the night, right? If she couldn't, Ellie could still commit herself and cuddle with Mai. On the contrary, Mai's eyes were glowing as she looked around the dormitory without stopping. Wow, is this your dorm room, Ellie? It's huge. Like it? Aelithia whispered as she attached herself to Mai's ear. Love it. I love it. Little Dance looked excited. There was no difference without comparison. Look at the quality of this single dormitory and then look at the work-study dormitory. It's just not a place for a girl to live. If you like it, you can always stay there. Anyway, the dormitory is big enough to accommodate the two of us to sleep together. The corners of Alicia's mouth turned up slightly, revealing a wicked smile if nothing else. Yes, Mai agreed without even thinking about it. Immediately after that, she suddenly realized that something was fishy. Isn't this all too logical? There are questions. Very problematic. They've only met once. They've known each other less than half a day. Helping yourself for no reason? And living together. Is there some kind of conspiracy here? What bad intentions could Aelithia have? Just wanting to meet a cute girl, that's all. Well, that's it. No. What? What's wrong? Mai looked at Ellie, who was approaching her, and backed away. Why are you being so nice to me? Is it with some purpose? Mai gulped. Ellie, she couldn't have seen that she was a rabbit. It's not going to turn itself into the shape of a braised rabbit's head. Aelithia sniffed and snorted. Giggle. What? You and I are both girls. Can I still eat you up? Do you think I'm that kind of person? Mai gazed up and down at Aelithia, her instincts telling her that this was the kind of person Ellie was. Just, somehow she couldn't hate it. Okay, don't be so nice, Ellie. Oh, I'd be embarrassed too. You. Mai opened her mouth and froze, unable to speak. Truly, Ellie was too cunning to have a single crack at all. We're all fighting today, so we can't skip the shower. Mai, just sit on the couch and be nice and quiet until Ellie is done washing. Oh. Seeing that Mai was having a lot of thoughts, Aelithia chose to take a step back first and leave room for her to think independently, lest you be made to cry and cry again by a whole head full of thoughts. Ellie wouldn't want to make such a cute girl cry. After watching Alicia's back walk into the bathroom, Mai was really relieved. Hoo. It felt like sooner or later Ellie was going to get the drop on her. Unbeknownst to her, Mai had long been in deep trouble and was being held hard by Ellie. The pattering of, listening to the sound of a shower coming from the bathroom, Mai ghosted over and looked over. A vague silhouette could be seen, and Ellie's distinctive voice, humming a little tune. This guy can be so fancy with a shower. Is one being too sentimental? Ellie, she is simply doing what's best for her. Although they hadn't known each other for a bad amount of time, Mai could sense that Ellie was a very nice girl. People are beautiful and have good intentions towards anyone. Seriously, Mai couldn't find a second better girl than Aelithia. She's one of a kind. Without realizing it, Alicia's fluffy hair appeared in front of her eyes. Her small hand waved in front of Dance. Hi, what are you thinking behind my back again? Mai, thinking of you, spoke Mai subconsciously, and then as if she were a cat with fried fur, hastily adding, I meant to say, don't be in a hurry, speak slowly, Ally is listening. Aelithia smiled sweetly and a dazzling starlight bloomed in his eyes, trying to say, Ellie, what you really are. What am I? Are you trying to find out everything about Ellie? How greedy, since you asked in good faith. Mai, then Eri can't refuse your question. Oh, I'm not going to deny everyone who responds to Ellie. As you can see, Aelithia is a girl of beauty and wonderful character all rolled into one. I love doing good deeds and just want the world to be a more beautiful place. As far as rewards and whatnot, Ellie isn't looking over her shoulder. Well, did you hear me well? Alicia's eloquent manner couldn't help but cause Mai to faintly stare. So this is Aelithia? She's really super nice. Alright, it's getting late. Mai, go take a bath early. Tomorrow seems to be the first day of school. Aha. Mai nodded and walked into the bathroom to take a shower. A few moments later, Mai walked out of the bathroom. Ellie waved at Dance. Come on, it's so late and you're still up? What about having to get up early tomorrow? At Alicia's gracious invitation, Mai slowly made her way to the bedside. Seeing that Mai looked hesitant, Ellie giggled. And vegetable and fun-loving. If you really mind, Ellie can draw the 38th parallel. No one will touch anyone. Oh. Alicia put extra pillows in the center of the bed, splitting it in two. Thank you, Ellie. Xiao Dance's eyes were 3 parts complicated and 7 parts grateful. What a nice girl Ellie is. Looking out for everyone. Is he too small-minded for a gentleman? Damn yourself. Ellie was just being nice to everyone. Well, that's all. Then, the two of them, Alicia and Mai, laid down on the bed together. However, Mai couldn't sleep anyhow. With that, taking a deep breath and sitting on the bed. Ellie, what's wrong? Nothing. Good night. Mai finally didn't have the courage to say it. Good night. The next day, the first rays of morning light shone in the cozy room and on Alicia's flawless face, bright and colorful and moving. Sighting further to the side, Mai was snuggled in Ellie's arms, mindlessly asleep. The demarcated 38th parallel has been thrown away somewhere. Perhaps it was because of the cute girl's presence. Alicia took a rare nap. Hazel opened her eyes, and the first thing she saw was Mai in her arms. Another look at the 38th parallel drawn last night brought a smile to his face. This is Mai. You came here on your own. Oh, you can't blame Ellie for that. Immediately afterward, Ellie looked out the window at the sky. Months long learning to farm in the village, she knew how to look at the sky to tell what time it was. Done. Overslept yet. It's 9 o'clock. Alicia had a headache, not expecting to be late for the first day of school. Really, life wasn't easy. Alicia sighed, tapping Mai on the shoulder. Hey, wake up. What's wrong with Ellie? Mai opened her eyes in a daze and, quickly noticing that he was leaning close to Ellie, he blushed a few shades of red and stepped back in a hurry. Before she could finish her sentence, Alicia gagged Mai with her index finger and shook her head at her. No need to tell me you're sorry. You didn't do anything wrong. Get up. We're late for the first day of school. As soon as she heard that she was late for the first day of school, Dance was anxious. Bad. Too much sleep. Delayed. Mai had a bitter look on her face. Being late on the first day of school was surely going to get a lecture from the teacher. It's going to be okay. Ellie's good luck will protect us. Ellie soothed, pulled Mai up and headed out the door, toward the school building. Along the way the two women used their soul power to simply wash their bodies. And their soul power was omnipotent. JPG. Eating some of the dry food Ellie had brought with her hoofed it to the school building. Coincidentally, both of them were in the same classroom in 106. Report. X2. The female teacher standing at the podium frowned. I can't believe you guys are late for the first day of school. Do you guys realize how important the first day of school is? The female teacher turned her head to look, and the first thing she saw was the most conspicuous pink hair. A name popped into his head. Alicia. So it's Cadet Ellie. Your first day at the academy and you don't know what time to go to school. Understandably, the teacher doesn't blame you. From now on, remember that the online time is 8:30 and don't be late again. Got it, teacher. X2. The female teacher nodded slightly. Come in and find a seat. Alicia took Mai's hand and walked to the middle of the classroom in full view of everyone. Meanwhile, the students in the classroom whispered about Alessia's arrival. You see, Alicia will be fine at all. Hello, Ellie's waiting for you at Avalanche Railroad. Hi, how are you? Visitors from outer space. High praise to the Immaculate Conception. No one understands better than I do how vital Ellie's classmates are to the academy. Yeah. Do you have inside information? No, but you don't know what happened in the work-study dormitory. It seems that there was a man who had a confrontation with Ellie, and it seems to have involved life and death. What kind of sand dollar thing has a life and death conflict with Ellie? You're crazy. It seems to be called Tang San, and as his name suggests, he's a little yakuza. Sensei, I don't want Ellie's classmates to think I'm a bad student who doesn't follow classroom rules. Quiet. The female teacher let out a stern rebuke, and the classroom fell silent. Where were we? Teacher. Speaking of class officers, Alicia stretched out her small hand to answer the teacher's question. Just happened to hear it outside the classroom. The female teacher nodded slightly. I'll introduce myself once again. Given that two of you just arrived, I will be your homeroom teacher for 6 years. My name is Sun Yinshu. Next I will screen the class officers. Any volunteers? Or maybe a recommendation for who to serve? Without waiting for Alicia to open her mouth, she heard her fellow classmates recommend her in unison. Alicia. Teacher, we recommend Alicia as a class officer. Cadet Ellie, would you like to be a class officer? Aelithia blinked and stood up, a smile spreading across her face. Of course I do. Since everyone trusts Ellie, I won't let you all down. Mr. Sue nodded and waved a hand for Ellie to sit down. With that, a few brief words about the do's and don'ts of school and off they went, leaving them to study on their own. The first day of school was definitely relaxing and enjoyable. Jingle bells. The bell rang for the end of class, and Alicia's seat was surrounded by people. Ellie-san, my name is Wang Jizha. Nice to meet you, classmate Ellie. One by one, they all scrambled to introduce themselves to Alicia, wanting to get to know the beautiful girl. After all, how could anyone dislike Alicia's unrivaled beauty? Don't like what kind of godly person Ellie would be. The ingredients must be very complex. You don't say, just Tang San him. Seeing that Alicia was surrounded by people, Mai beamed, her mood a little down. Somehow, it seemed as if something important was leaving him or her a little. Ellie, it's been a pleasure to meet you all and have a great 6 years ahead of you. Ellie is sure this will be an incredibly precious time. Soon it's time for class again, and it's still homeroom teacher Sun Yenshu's class. Sun Yenshu walked into the classroom on time, her gaze sweeping around. First of all, I teach in a rather specific way, practicing and teaching at the same time. It's not a daily lecture like other classes, so if you don't like it, it's not too late to switch classes. For a moment, the classroom was silent, and no one broke the peace. They're not afraid with Ellie, no matter how hard it is, as long as they can be in Ellie's class. It's worth it to put in as much hard work as you can. Everything is dedicated to Alicia. JPG. Seeing that the class was unmoved, Sun Yenshu nodded in relief. You have 3 minutes to assemble in the playground. Now immediately. All move. Alicia took Mai's hand and acted as an example for the class, trotting towards the playground. One thing leads to another, and more people followed Ellie's lead and ran out onto the playground. It was a scene that left the rest of the class staring in disbelief. What are they doing here? No way. Aren't you having a good class? Why did you go out to play? You're being silly. It's class time and you can still go out and play? Che, don't you guys even investigate college teacher credentials? Devil Sue in class 106, who has a very different teaching philosophy than the other teachers, loves to mix hands-on with teaching and will toss her students for a hands-on. These 6 years, they have them to suffer. Fart, they're sweet. Well, I wish I could be in her class too. Don't people live to see more of Ellie's classmates? It's still you. The playground. Sue looked at the crooked line at the beginning of the year and grimaced. Alicia knows her stuff and chooses to step up to the plate and take on the duties of a class officer. Please, everyone stand in line and don't be crooked. One by one. At a word from Alicia, they all aligned themselves in rows. Sun Yenshu nodded his head repeatedly, not expecting Alicia to adapt to the duties of a class officer so quickly. It's really not a worry at all. What a nice guy. Listen up, all of you, and run 10 laps around the playground for me. One sentence was like setting off a dynamite barrel. Ha? No. How many laps? Taking less? Did I hear you right? Asterisk. 10 laps. 10 full laps. A lap of that big playground must be at least a kilometer. 10 laps equals 10,000 meters. How long is this going to take? Sue, beginning of the year cold face, knife mouth tofu heart, said, after running 10 laps, dismissed in place. That's the end of today's class. You don't have to act like the other classes. You are permitted to use your martial souls and soul power. Whether you take a break in the middle of it or if you're lazy, just run 10 laps. But if you find someone slipping away without finishing the run, congratulations on being a class alert. 6 years is enough time for you to drink. The pros and cons were laid out in plain sight, and in an instant the class was pumped up. Humph. It's only 10 laps, so you can have as much fun as you want after the run. Ha ha, you can do whatever you want after 10 laps. The other classes must have seen it worse than killing him. 3, 2, 1. 10 laps to start. Little Dance move But, I can't finish 10 laps with this small body. Little Dance lowered her head with a depressed look on her face and, 10 laps, that's the devil. She can't handle it as a girl. You, aren't you forgetting about Ellie? Me? I'm your best friend. How can you sit back and do nothing? Ellie will help you. Thank you, Ellie. You're so sweet. Mai's eyes reddened slightly as she was filled with gratitude for Ellie. She was so nice she didn't know how she was going to repay Ellie. So much for small talk. Run along. Alicia habitually took Mai's hand and started to run 10 laps of the journey hand in hand. Looking at the odd run, Sue's eyelids fluttered at the beginning of the year. After seeing that it was Alicia, the words that came to her mouth were swallowed back. As long as the 10 laps are completed, it doesn't really matter what the process is. Time flew by, and an hour passed in the blink of an eye. The vast majority of people ran 7 or 8 laps by psionic power, and very few ran only 5 laps. At this moment, Mai was sweating and panting. Ellie, I just can't run anymore. On the contrary, Ellie didn't even sweat a bit. She wasn't out of breath. She was just very red in the face. It's extraordinarily cute and charming. Since the separation of the Stardust Forest, Ellie has developed a good physique on her journey to help people. 10 laps is too pedestrian for her. Nothing is too hard for Ellie. Then Ellie helped you. Oh, help me? Mai looked puzzled. She couldn't quite understand it. Is this something that can be helped? It couldn't be that Ellie was running it for herself, could it? And don't you tell me. That's the method Ellie came up with. Watch this. Alicia sprouted pink feathered wings on her back end. Hands picked up Mai's petite body and swept across the playground. The scene left the others dumbfounded. Holy, can it still be like that? Never thought there would be a day when I would envy having a flying martial soul. In the blink of an eye, Alicia led Mai through the only 3 laps left in the race. Be the first to finish the run. Not bad. Very good. The more he saw of Alicia's performance, the more satisfied Sue became at the beginning of the year. It was hard to imagine that Ellie could run like a normal person when she clearly had the ability to fly. She's not just a supreme genius, but she also has a wonderful character. This kind of person is the only one you see in your life. I used to scoff at the idea that there would be no good people on the mainland, but not until I met a girl named Alicia. Just realized there are still good people in the world. At that moment, Alicia pulled Mai over to Sue early in the year. A smile raised on her face as always. Teacher, I'm not cheating, am I? Does this count as a run for Mai? Using a martial spirit within the allowed range is not considered cheating. Actually, I did it for a reason. Sue early in the year looked at the playground to help each other forward students, face written with a color of relief. That's nice. It's all about friendship. Bonding, waving youth, vigor. This is why Sue chose to use this method at the beginning of the year, to promote the relationship between each other. Cadet Ellie, congratulations on passing. Sensei's teaching style is really special. The smart and clever Alicia guessed everything and, blinking, the only one who was confused was Mai, who couldn't understand what they were saying at all. Can we please stop with the riddles? Couldn't understand Similac. Goodbye, teacher. Alicia politely said goodbye and took Mai with her. Mai, who had been holding her tongue, couldn't help but speak up. Ellie, what kind of riddle were you guys playing just now? Why can't I understand it? As a 100,000-year-old soul beast, she wasn't very keen on human emotions and couldn't understand them at all. Well, don't you see people helping each other on the playground? After Ellie mentioned it, Mai suddenly came to a realization and looked excited. I got it. It's about bringing each other closer, right? How clever. Alicia caressed the pair of rabbit ears Mai wore on top of her head. It's soft and cozy to the touch. Mai's eyes widened as an electric current struck her entire body, staring at Alicia in a daze. How she hadn't expected Ellie to touch her rabbit ears. The rabbit ears were the most sensitive part of Little Dance, and that was a symbol representing the transformation of a 100,000-year-old soul beast. I thought I had reached the limit of head touching, but I didn't realize that head touching was just the beginning. Noticing Mai's eyes staring straight at her, Alicia smiled brightly and, then he realized that Mai's face was red. Why is your face so red? Mai, what? Are you shy about touching your rabbit ears? It's not like it's part of your body. Mai, your rabbit ears are such good quality. They feel like real ones. This is not a good quality rabbit ear. This is a real rabbit ear. I, stammered Mai, gritting her teeth. The two hadn't spent much time together, but Mai was acutely aware of Ellie's unconditional kindness to her. It was tempting to tell Ellie who she really was without reservation. It's just that Mai is scared. Fear. Would Ellie not treat herself well if she knew her true identity? Would it be because he was a 100,000-year-old soul beast and would never be seen together again? But, not saying it would be hiding it from Ellie. And with someone like her, Mai really didn't want to hide it. At this moment, Xiao Dance was caught in a celestial battle within her heart, and she was deep in it, unable to extricate herself. Hey. Alicia waved her small hand in front of Mai's eyes, interrupting her thoughts. Thinking about what? If you have something on your mind, you can share it with Ellie, but of course it's okay if you don't want to talk about it. Each one has its own secrets yet. Ellie, at this moment, Mai made up her mind. Can we find a place where no one is around? I want to talk to you alone, Ellie. This is important. It can be. And Ellie would love to know what's bothering a pretty girl. Alicia cocked her head, squinting and smiling at Mai. The two walked until they reached the hills behind Notting College. The two women looked at each other as the sun set. Ellie, I'm sorry you. Mai bit her red lip and apologized to Ellie. What are you apologizing to me for? Mai, it's not like you did anything wrong. There is. I've been hiding something I haven't told you. Harm. Apologizing to me for just one thing? You didn't do anything wrong. Don't burden yourself too much. Alicia is always looking out for people. Well, Ellie, I'm going to show you all I've got. In fact, my true identity is the 100,000-year-old soul beast soft bone rabbit. Mai put down 12 points of courage and bared it all. What? Mai, you're really a rabbit. Alicia's eyes twinkled with brilliance. Full of surprise, it was expected that Alicia would stay away from herself, loathe herself. However, Ellie didn't. Instead of seeing disgust in Ellie's eyes, she was ecstatic. It was not at all what she thought it would be. Little Dance froze slightly and repeated what she had just said. Ellie, I'm a 100,000-year-old soul beast. I know. Aren't you afraid? Alicia smiled slightly. Why would you be scared? It's not like you're going to hurt Ellie. My. And what's so scary? Mai was still puzzled. But, isn't there a consensus on the continent? Human soul masters and soul beasts don't share the same hatred. Alicia's eyes were puzzled. Have you? I don't know. But so what? All I know is that you, Mai, are the most important friend I've ever had. My partner. It's something I can't afford to lose. As for what your true identity is doesn't matter. Alicia looked incredibly solemn. At this moment, Xiao Dance could no longer suppress the emotions in her heart and, with tear-filled eyes, she flung herself into Alicia's arms and poured out the pain in her heart. Oh, Ellie, you're so nice. You're the only one who won't be afraid of soul beasts. When I first arrived in the human world, I saw countless of my compatriots brutally murdered by human soul masters. I'm so afraid of revealing my true identity and being killed. Until I met you, Ellie. New book on its knees begging for readers basking in data support. Requests for catch-up reading. Request for reviews. Request for recommendation tickets. Ask for a 5-star review. Please ask for a monthly pass. Help me out. Grandma Reader. The author is hitting the charts for Ellie. Asking for a wave of monthly votes. It wasn't until I met you, Ellie, that I realized there are still good people in this world. Ellie, it's so nice to have you to warm me for all seasons. Mai burst into hot tears and, holding Ellie close and not letting go, afraid that Ellie would not be there anymore and leave her. The corners of Alicia's mouth rose and curled up, unable to contain the excitement and joy inside. The lilies of my hometown are blooming again. Since Mai chose to trust Ellie, then Ellie will never let you down. Will never reveal Mai's true identity to a third person. Not even in death. Oh, it's a little secret between just the two of us. Mai and Ellie. Don't say that word. It won't. It definitely won't. Mai shook her head and, the eyes were unusually firm. After all, Ellie is so good at what she does. And she's so beautiful and kind. Who would want to hurt a beautiful girl? Well, there's only one shady creep. And the henchmen are not enough to worry about. The two women were lying together on a grassy slope watching the evening sunset. Nature is so beautiful. After a while, seeing that the sun was about to set, Aelithia stood up. Get up. We're going back, ya. Alicia habitually took Mai's hand and walked towards the dormitory. Walking to the dormitory building, Mai suddenly remembered something important that she almost forgot because of Ellie. Ellie, wait for me. I'm going to the work-study dorm. What's wrong? Did you leave something behind? Mai shook her head. No, I'm the boss of the work-study students. After all, you can't just find another woman and ignore it, can you? Good. How dare you molest me? Mai. Alicia pouted. Straight away, he went up and rubbed Little Dance's rabbit ears, and the latter instantly went limp all over. This is an area where Ellie must not lose and must be the active party. She's a representative of her hometown's Lily of the Valley. Mai raised her hands in surrender. Stop touching. I can't walk anymore. Okay. Alicia let go of her hand fondly. Rabbit ears were so addictive to touch. Ellie will go with you. There's nothing to do anyway. It's a coincidence. The two women saw from a distance a group of people gathered around the entrance to the work-study, one of whom they had met once before. I don't know what the conversation was about. If it isn't that annoying guy from last night. I think it's called Xiao something? Xiao Chenyu. Yes, it's called Xiao Chenyu. Xiao Dance nodded her head. Immediately after that, she looked at Alicia with a shocked face. What's wrong? Ellie, how do you remember it so well? Because Ally remembers everyone. A smile spread across Alicia's face. Well, of course a cute and beautiful girl like you, Mai, remembers it more. Xiao Dance's pretty face blushed slightly and twisted her head to divert her gaze. Ellie is so shy to say these shy things at the drop of a hat. Meanwhile, the entrance to the work-study dormitory. Xiao Chenyu, what are you doing in the work-study dormitory? You are not welcome here. Wang Shang grimaced, eyes full of hostility. It couldn't be helped. Who let Xiao Chenyu used to bully their work-study students all the time? It belonged to the stereotype. Xiao Chenyu clapped his hands, and the juniors around him bowed and apologized to the people in the work-study dormitory. I'm sorry, Wang Shang? The school bully who oppressed them apologized to a bunch of work-study students? I'm not daydreaming, am I? Wang Shang subconsciously pinched his face hard, and a sharp pain hit him. Then after rubbing his eyes again to make sure he was right, he took a breath. What are you doing? Xiao Chenyu changed his face from the past and let out a dry laugh. As you can see, my little brother was always picking on you work-study kids. This time I want to end the feud and sincerely apologize and compensate you for it. What do you think, Wang Shang? Wang Shang's eyes widened in disbelief. Why did you suddenly become a good woman? There are questions. Very problematic. Suddenly, Wang Shang's afterglow glanced at the two women, Xiao Dance and Aelithia, behind Xiao Qingyu. Especially after seeing Aelithia, Wang Shang's puzzled look instantly dawned on him. It must be because of Aelithia that Xiao Qingyu has gone over to Liang to keep his image from collapsing in front of her. I really didn't expect Xiao Qingyu to make changes for a person. Considering Aelithia's personal charisma, you can't say there really aren't many people who wouldn't be moved by it. It's no exaggeration to say that in the Unending Academy, Aelithia's beauty was unrivaled in the world. No one can compare. There was also no one who didn't recognize Aelithia's beauty as the first in the academy. Alright, since you've sincerely apologized and made reparations, from now on the grudge between us is written off. At that moment, the two girls, Ellie and Mai, walked over. Mai-chan, Sister Ellie. Wang Shang came to Little Dance's side in a farty manner. Why are you free to come to the work-study dormitory? Xiao Dance glared at Wang Shang and raised her head. What? As the boss of the work-study dormitory, why can't you come? No. What were you guys just talking about? Nothing. Xiao Qingyu waved his hand. He didn't dare to say it. He didn't want Aelithia to know that he had been a punk and a bully in the academy. Ahahaha. Little Dancing Sister and the others have gone from good to evil. They won't be bullied by them anymore. What? So they're the ones who bullied you guys? Mai exclaimed. Fine. Send yourself to the door, huh? Do you want me to step in and teach them a lesson? Wang Shang hurriedly opened his mouth to persuade. Sister Xiaomai don't They've gone from being good, apologized and made amends to us. So we've cleared the air between us. Anyone who reforms is a good boy. Aelithia smiled slightly and, she was ever so accommodating to the world. As long as it's not something that's done some unconscionable mischief, or if it's a deadbeat like Tang San, then Ellie can forgive it all. After all, a person's life is long, and it's understandable that sometimes they make mistakes. It's not too late if you're willing to change your ways. Aelithia's words were as warm as the wind in her hair. Xiao Qingyu and the others immediately felt that everything they had just done was worth it. Everything is for Aelithia. You guys chat. We'll leave first. Xiao Qingyu then left with his men. Let's not interrupt their work-study internal discussions. As she watched them leave, Mai looked left and right and, no sign of the enemy in the work-study dorms. Where's Tang San? Sister Mai, you said him. I think he was led away by a teacher early in the morning and never came back. Obviously, it was Yu Xiaojiang who took Tang San away to the soul hunting forest to obtain the first soul ring. It is well known that a person tends to be inflated and arrogant after gaining great power. And Tang San is this kind of person. Never came back? Great. Better off dead. Ever since meeting Aelithia, Little Dance detested Tang San's kind of Ellie hater from the bottom of her heart. A dead Donnie is a good Donnie. JPG. If Tang San really died, Xiaoma could still have a seat. Tang San, my dropping love. Sister Xiaomai is right. I also think it's best if Tang San dies. A dead Donnie is a good Donnie. This time, Aelithia didn't deny it and agreed with them. When you run into trouble in the future, just give my name and Ellie's, and I'll see who dares to touch you. In fact, just by moving Ellie's name, no one would dare to touch Wang Shang and the others. They even offer them all up. Ellie, let's go back. The work-study dorms have nothing more to do with us. After returning, Aelithia forced Mai to join her in the bathroom to share a bath. From time to time, the playful jostling of the two women could be heard. Meanwhile, far away in the Soul Hunter forest, Tang San and Yu Xiaojiang. I don't know if I've offended Aelithia, who is favored by Lady Luck. Tang San and Yu Xiaojiang both had surprisingly bad luck. Just after arriving at the soul hunting forest, he encountered a small wave of soul beasts and almost lost his life. In order to survive, the two of them ruthlessly jumped into the soul beast excrement and, it was covered in Shoko's scent. It was so hard to get through it that I almost swallowed a pile of reply choking in my mouth. There is only one word to describe them. Misery. Alas, Junior will stay here tonight. Rest early so you can look for the soul beasts tomorrow. Tang San closed his eyes and fell into a deep sleep, soon dreaming of becoming a god king again. Ever since he met Aelithia, Tang San had dreams at night from time to time. The memory of dreaming about becoming a god king. After dreaming up more and more memories of the god king, Tang San's hatred for Aelithia had reached its peak. Probably maybe it's the influence of the god king's memories that Tang San felt that Aelithia was someone who should have never appeared. She must die. Dying to fix the wrong world. Dead so that his own Mai could come back. Tang San had never understood why he had an indefinable feeling towards Xiao Dance. After dreaming of the God King's memories, everything made sense. It's my love. Time flew by, and in the blink of an eye it was the fourth day of school at Unending Academy. After experiencing her first day of being late, Aelithia would always wake up an hour earlier. Instead of waking up Mai, who was still huffing and puffing, she went to the cafeteria to order food. Alone. To fetch food for her. It's Cadet Ellie. You're bringing food for your friend again. Yes, Auntie. By the way. Auntie Beefy smiled and nodded. I envy your deep friendship. It's good to be young. The vibrancy is vibrant. Thank you, Auntie. Alicia took the breakfast and went straight to her dormitory. The wake-up dance to wash and eat all in one. Sipping the hot soy milk. My squinted her eyes with a look of enjoyment. Ellie is so lucky to have you. Okay, I've heard it all before. Let's go. We have half an hour before class. Yeah, never be late again. The two girls, Ellie and Mai, held hands and walked towards the school building 106. I always pass senior classrooms on the way, and I always see them half an hour early for class. Immediately afterward, a roar managed to stop Aelithia in her tracks. Mai, please wait for me yet. Having spent a lot of time together, Mai could tell at a glance what Ellie was going to do next. Mai nodded heavily at Ellie, supporting her unconditionally. Go on, Ellie. Under Mai's watchful eye, Alicia walked slowly to the doorway and listened. Are you trying to piss me off? I've taught you this question a dozen times. You manage to get it wrong every time. You're really the worst student I've ever seen. Teacher, I really can't read it. The man lowered his head, his eyes filled with despair and sadness. He's such a big dumbass. What a complete quack. How can you even tell this point of knowledge apart? And how can you tell what kind of soul beast it is in the future? That's all you'll be in the future. A life of failure as far as the eye can see. Every time I see a student like you, I feel tired. Listening to the teacher's sharp criticisms, which completely reduced the boy to nothing. Alicia's eyes twinkled with a shimmer. It's true that boys aren't smart, but that doesn't mean it's going to be a failed life in the future, does it? Alicia couldn't bear to see a boy deeply affected for the rest of his life by such a trivial matter. Teacher, can I say something? Alicia opened her mouth weakly and politely questioned the teacher's opinion. Haven't I emphasized this many times? No talking in class. One by one they really piss me off. Truly the worst class I've ever led. Teacher, I'm not one of your students. I just heard you out there. Think something's wrong. The teacher sniffed and looked to see a pink-headed girl standing in the doorway. The whole house knew who this unique feature was. Alicia. It's Cadet Ellie. What do you have to say? Teacher, can I come in and talk? Sure. With the teacher's permission, Alicia stepped into the classroom and walked to the podium, looking at seniors older than her. Teacher, I think what you just said was too sharp and inappropriate. Ellie thinks geniuses walk among the stars, but mortal mediocrity cannot even catch up with a single footprint. Mediocre men, who have only to learn to walk independently, pass their lives in a floundering state of falling and rising. But a life of failure is a life all the same, and they have a right to savor it to the end. Nor should man's destiny have only one path given by God. Every man has his own path to follow, and it is impossible to follow a given destiny, isn't it? Teacher, that's Ellie's point. I don't agree with you that students who don't learn well are failing in life. As the words fell, a crackle of applause rang out deafeningly. Snap, snap, an entire classroom of people applauded Alicia's point of view. Speaks to the depths of their hearts and inspires the poor students. They cast looks of immense gratitude towards Alicia. In their darkest hour, Ellie shone as a righteous light, led them in the right direction. Meanwhile, the whole class can feel good about themselves. It's been chopped up by this inappropriate and unethical teacher. Alicia is so right. The dislike is so great. By what right does a teacher's word determine that a person will be a failure in life in the future? As the teacher of this class, it's hard to put a face on it. This is the kind of treatment he hasn't even received. The whole class was in his face, but he couldn't get mad at it was because the person speaking was the supreme genius, Alicia, who even the dean had to personally provide for. The teacher could only chuckle dryly and chime in. Cadet Ellie's right. It's the teacher who made a mistake in understanding, and must change. Alicia's eyes flashed with cunning. Oh, really? A gentleman's word is his bond. You can't go back on your word. Mr. Teacher, maybe an example to the students. With a smile raised on her face, Alicia said to the teacher beside her. Such a big hat for you, JPG. Don't answer it. It's the violation of the rules set by the dean. As long as it doesn't go against the principle of the issue, Alicia's requests are to be fulfilled to the best of her ability. At the same time, losing face in front of the students. How can you still mix in the academy in the future? Pick it up. In the future, you will never be able to be venting about your life and use your students as a punching bag. At this moment, the teacher is undoubtedly an ant on a hot plate, riding a tiger. Teacher, what do you think is wrong? Alicia watched the defeated teacher with a smirk as she saw his delay in responding. No. It just seemed so right to you, Cadet Ellie, that I forgot about God for a moment. Since the teacher agrees with Ellie's point of view, I'll leave you guys to your lesson then. Alicia, name. The moment she walked out of the classroom, Mai at the doorway looked excited and held onto Ellie's small hand. Ha, Ellie, You are so right. Took the heat out of it for me. It could be a lesson to this teacher with no ethics. Well, we should get going then. The two women stomped into the classroom. Mai patted her chest and let out a long breath. Luckily we left early and almost late. At this time, Sun Yinchu walked in. First gave a bunch of theoretical lessons, and then began to practice. Ellie, report your psionic level. Teacher, Ellie's soul power is level 19. At that moment, the class booed, all shocked by Alicia's soul power level. Nothing else, they didn't even have the first soul ring. In front of Alicia, it's just too hot to look at a bit. As for Mai, who was a tablemate and housemate, she was bewildered and looked shocked in the next moment. It's not right. Is the psionic level that high? Even with the talent added by 100,000 years of age, Little Dance's soul power was only at the 15th level. It's a far cry from Ellie. Is this the innate full soul power? Is this the twin souls? But, in these few days of time together, Xiao Dai has never actively seen Ailey cultivate You don't say. Ellie had never actively practiced, simply because she was too talented. Even without actively practicing, soul power would also naturally dabble. Sun Yinchu opened her mouth, her heart filled with mixed feelings. At Ellie's age, her soul power was only at level 12, and she was a distant 18 levels ahead. Perhaps no one in her age group was more talented than Ellie. That's so nice. Good person, good heart, good talent, great in every way. What a flawless girl. It's hard not to have someone not like it. Hi, teacher, wake up, stop wandering off. Alicia's voice interrupted Sun Yinchu's thoughts and pulled her back. Well, everyone heard that. Ellie's soul power level can be so high. It must not be possible without her practicing hard. Even the gifted ones are struggling, aren't you? Still have the heart to play? Still have the heart to not train hard? Are you willing to lag behind people? Aelithia blinked. In fact, she was tempted to say that she didn't practice at all. The psionic levels are all rubbing off on themselves, but she knew it was too much of a blow to say it out loud. Who else here would try to practice and catch up with Ellie? So, sometimes telling a good lie is necessary to keep from hurting other people, even if they knew they'd forgive Ellie, right? Alright, self-study has begun. All of you cultivate well for me. No slacking off. Sun Yinchu sat in the classroom, quietly watching the students underneath sit cross-legged. In order to catch up with Ellie's furious training, and as a class officer, Alicia had to be a role model. Thus, she could only cultivate for a while then stop. However, just practicing for a while made Ellie's soul power increase by 1 level. 19 levels. That's a breathtaking rate of cultivation. At the same time, Mai stared blankly at Alicia, whose eyes were closed. I didn't realize Ellie looked so good with her eyes closed. And so on. No, that's not the point. The point is that just now the soul power was centered on Alicia, and a wave of it surged into her body. The psionic power then breaks through. This was only felt by the closest Mai. That's a lot of efficient cultivation. Not bad for Aelithia. Time passes little by little, and the bell rings. There are no classes in the afternoon, but your teacher wants you to practice with all your heart. Don't worry, teacher, we will definitely refuel our cultivation, not just for myself, but to catch up with Ellie-san. The whole class sees Alicia as a target. Sun Yinchu smiled in relief. This class of students was the one she was most comfortable with. In the past, she had to be driven with a whip behind her back, and while it was harsh, got the devil's permission from the college, but she was genuinely interested in what was best for her students. As a teacher, it is exactly like Sun Yinchu, right? After Sun Yinchu walked out of the classroom, the whole class came alive. One fondly looked at Ellie one last time before leaving. Don't people live to see Alicia? Soon. The only two people left in the large classroom were Mai and Alicia. Ellie, are you acquiring your second soul ring? Little Dance inquired, beaming and lowering her head, eyes full of excitement. Not for a moment did he grieve for his fallen compatriots. It was a blessing for them to be Ellie's soul ring. Yeah, you'll have to acquire a second soul ring to go further. At the mention of soul rings, Alicia's tone was tinged with a bit of sadness. Her first soul ring originated from a 1,000-year-old soul beast that was autonomously sacrificed to her. Every time I think about it I get a little winded. Ellie, what's wrong with you? Do you think hunting soul beasts for soul rings is hurting me? Right? Mai apparently mistook Ellie's knowledge of her true identity for the fact that, thinking that hunting soul beasts will hurt you. Not at all. Actually, for in the world of soul beasts, there is only the dark law of the forest, the survival of the fittest. It won't. Mai's words also surprised Alicia. Aren't they your compatriots? Yeah, but what's it to me? Even if there's no soul master hunt, every day there are soul beasts being eaten by powerful soul beasts. Am I going to be sad? Ellie, have you thought about what soul beast you want for your second soul ring? Do you need me to help you think about it? Once a 100,000-year-old soul beast, the soft bone rabbit, There would be no one who knew soul beasts better than her. No, thank you Mai. My first soul ring was sacrificed to me by a 1,000-year-old soul beast yet. Mai was confused, her brain buzzing. Obviously, I know every word, but how can I string them together in a way that I can't understand? After a few moments of slowing down, Mai exclaimed out in shock. Ellie, you said take over the teenagers? Or is it a sacrifice to you? Yeah. Aelithia blinked, looking at the dumbfounded Mai. She didn't hold back a poof of laughter. What exactly is happening? Mai was genuinely curious as to what exactly. It led to the autonomous sacrifice of the 1,000-year-old soul beast to Ellie. There must be something fishy about this. At the same time, an extremely bold idea surfaced in Mai's mind. Soul beast sacrifice? Couldn't he or she have had Damien Erman sacrifice to Ellie? After all, Deming Erming they have reached 100,000 years. Every once in a while you have to cross the threshold and get struck by lightning. The only reason he took on human form was because he couldn't take it anymore. Sooner or later, Damien Erman would not be able to bear it, so it would be better to sacrifice it to Ellie. And another way to keep my company. 2 for the price of 1. Hey, I'm a genius. Damien Erman, Sister Mai. Aminos, you want to know? Mai, then listen up. With that, Ellie told Mai exactly what happened. In fact, to this day Aelithia couldn't understand why the sacrifice was made to herself. Knowing only that the 1,000-year-old soul beast cried out for its pure and beautiful soul, it was sacrificed to Ellie. Ellie, how could you tell me something so important now? Mai crossed her arms and, there seemed to be a few sour notes in the words. She'd thought she'd be the first to shortcut it. As a result, I never realized that the peach had been picked long ago. It's hard to get even. Aelithia narrowed her eyes. It's not much, is it? And you didn't ask. Mai, Ellie loves meeting cute and pretty girls like you, Mai. What? You won't be jealous? Mai blushed slightly and denied it in a row. What are you thinking? Ellie, it's just someone who knew Ellie earlier. So what's the big deal? Besides, a beautiful, kind-hearted girl like you, Ellie, it must be very attractive and pleasing. And it's normal to have a lot of friends. Mai gritted her teeth and tried to argue. Her voice was loud but gave off a pale and weak voice. Unbeknownst to her, Alicia's female friends are growing in the near future. At that time, Mai would only want to cry. You're so pathetic. Crying and screaming. It's okay. Ellie will love everyone. Let's go. Aelithia took Mai's hand and walked out of the classroom. And not long after that, a voice came from behind him. Aelithia. Hearing the unfamiliar and familiar voice, Alicia's beautiful eyebrows slightly raised. Turning his head, he glanced at the visitor's eyes in gradual disgust. Mai similarly sniffed and looked over with the same disgusted expression. It's you again, you annoying guy. Can the dead flies leave us alone? Looking at Xiao Dance cursing at himself, Tang San's heart twinged inwardly. No, my love. The culprit for all of this was undoubtedly Aelithia. It's all her fault. If it wasn't for Aelithia, her own Mai wouldn't have been so poor at her own game, without realizing that it was created by their own behavior. But even if we knew, what? By a double-standard person like Donnie, he would only throw out even more bombastic statements. Facts aside, isn't Aelithia, who caused all this, at fault? Isn't there a little bit of that? Don't bother us with nothing. Aelithia's voice was indifferent. She wouldn't be nice to such an evil person who didn't know how to learn from his mistakes. Her good nature is only for those around her and those who don't harbor ill will towards her. I'm going to launch a cut at you. There is no difference between life and death, only between high and low. In order to prevent Xiao Dance from becoming more and more disgusted with himself, Tang San could only come up with this next best thing. With the first soul skill, a qualitative leap in the Tang Sex Jedi, and the Divine King's memories. Carrying all this, Tang San must not lose. Ellie, let's go. Don't bother with people like that. There's no need to reason with such a man. He doesn't deserve to be heard. Tang San gritted his teeth and silently endured the humiliation that little Dance was inflicting on him. It's broken. Turtle Man's vestiges are too strong. Pure and simple a clown. Are you afraid to take my cut, Aelithia? Facing Tang San's provocation, Alicia's beautiful brows slightly frowned. This kind of person is only not annoying if you beat them into submission. Therefore, Aelithia chose to respond to the battle. If I win this time, Ellie, you're not allowed to bother us from now on. Yes, Tang San responded with a bite. Immediately, without speaking of martial virtues, he unleashed his first soul skill, Blue Silver Tangle, to sneak attack Aelithia. It happened quickly, in a flash of lightning. It's a shame it's Aelithia we're dealing with. First soul skill, Flower and Bird's Vector. In order to have a quick battle without wasting time, Aelithia chose to decide the winner with a single move. Flowery scented arrows, shot with birdsong, broke through the blue and silver grass entanglements that, directly sending Tang San flying out. This time Aelithia didn't hold back. Therefore Tang San simply couldn't make it to the ghost shadow misty steps before he fell. Tang San looked stunned, completely unable to understand. Ahem. How is this possible? How long has it been? Aelithia has gotten so much stronger. Damn it. At the same time, the commotion caused by this one was not small, and it instantly attracted trainees from all the major grades. After seeing that it was Aelithia and one fighting, each one of them pointed at Tang San. Who is this pussy? I don't know. I don't remember the academy having this guy. At this time, Wang Sheng came over to watch the fun and fixed his eyes on it. It's Tang San again. Tang San? I'm trying to remember the clown that's been making a lot of noise before school even started. He dares to fight Ellie again. He's not afraid to die. Mud. It's you kid called Tang San, isn't it? Not even the first day of school yet. And he got into a confrontation with Ellie's schoolmates. Even almost killed someone. Do you really think you can do whatever you want just because you're innately full of soul power? And don't learn how to behave from Ellie's schoolmates. Today I am giving you a lesson to teach you how to behave. Know that. Anyone who is a brother give me a hard beating, so that Tang San knows what he can and cannot do. Lulon's juniors, led by Xiao Qingyu, were punching and kicking Tang San. There were even other people joining in one after another, severely thrashing Tang San. This scene was so painful to watch that Wang Sheng threw up his thumbs in praise for Xiao Qingyu and the others. Most supportive episode. He had long looked at Tang San with displeasure and deserved to be brutally beaten up. Tang San gritted his teeth and suffered silently. The pain of skin and flesh was nothing. It's just a little bit of frost. He put up with it so he wouldn't get fired. Tang San's eyes were hateful, firmly memorizing the people who had bullied him in his heart and in his little book. Wait and see. 30 years east of the river. 30 years west of the river. I, Tang San, will make you pay. You already have a way to die. This time, Aelithia didn't care that they thrashed Tang San, purely because he deserved it. She would not sympathize with such people. Ellie, let's go. It's bad luck to meet him and dirty your hands, Ellie. New book on its knees begging for readers basking in data support. Requests for catch-up reading. Request for reviews. Request for recommendation tickets. Ask for a 5-star review. Please ask for a monthly pass. Along the way, Mai took Alicia's hand and led her to a public restroom to wash her hands. It made Ellie giggle. I didn't realize that Mai was so particular. We've got a fly in the ointment. It's a pain in the ass. It's also just the right time for Xiao Qingyu and the others to give him a good thrashing and take out a mouthful of bad anger. Immediately afterward, a pig-killing scream rang out from Tang San, as well as Xiao Qinyu's sneers. Even from a distance, the two women could still hear it clearly. Stop fighting. Please stop. I really know I'm wrong. Humph. You don't know you're wrong. You know you're going to die. I'll let you harass Ellie. I'll let you target with Ellie. If I were to follow my temperament in the past, Tang San, you would already be ruined. You have to be grateful to Ellie for changing my whole stinking problem. And don't you say thank you, Ellie? Tang San grimaced, his face green with anger. Defeated by Aelithia, and brutally beaten by a group of people from Xiao Qingyu because of Aelithia, and finally be forced to say thank you, Ellie. That's no way to bully someone. It's a real heartbreaker. Well done. Let's go. Don't worry about it. Take a painful bath with Ellie. Walk. Mai's eyes were glowing, and she dragged Aelithia back to her dormitory to get her clothes ready. Then he walked into the bathroom with Ellie. There was laughter in the bathroom as the two women frolicked around. It took a while to walk out, tired and lying down on the bed to rest. The next day, the two of them, Aelithia and Mai, got up early in the morning and simply cleaned up before heading straight to the office. As usual, Mai waited outside and Aelithia went in alone. Teacher, Ellie wants to take a long vacation from you. Sun Yinshu nodded slightly. It's fine. Aelithia would do her best to fulfill any request she had, so she agreed without even thinking about it. Immediately afterward, Sun Yinshu looked up sharply at Aelithia after digesting the information. Taking a long vacation? What's the reason? Ellie, are you having a hard time with something? Feel free to talk to your teacher and she will help you. Teacher, you misunderstood. It's just that, Ellie, I've hit a bottleneck and need to acquire a second soul ring. Aelithia didn't choose to hide it and said without reservation. Ha! Sun Yinshu was dumbfounded. How could he not expect that Aelithia would become a rank 20 great soul master so soon? To think that in the beginning, one had put in how many years of hard work in order to become a great soul master. Sure enough, no comparison hurts. But Sun Yinshu was genuinely happy for Ellie, and a rare smile appeared on his stereotypical face. Fine, your teacher will grant you a long vacation. Sun Yinshu took out a pen and paper to write out a leave of absence and handed it to Aelithia. Yes, do you need a teacher with you? Or maybe your elders will take you to the soul hunting forest? Thank you, teacher, for your concern. Ally doesn't need it yet. Aelithia politely declined Sun Yinshu's kind offer. She doesn't want to bother anyone. Considering that Aelithia is gifted, I'm sure her elders must be capable as well. You're worrying yourself blind. Well, I wish you a good trip, Ellie, and a speedy return. Thank you, teacher. teacher bye ah. After saying goodbye to Sun Yenshu, Aelithia walked out of the office on the front foot, and Xiao Dai came up on the back foot. Ellie, I'm going with you, my bean, taking Ellie's hand and, the look was incredibly solemn. No way oh my. It's not like you need to get soul rings like Ellie and I do. What? It's only a few days apart and you can't let go? So Ellie holds such a big place in your heart. Obviously. Alicia's sweet and pleasant voice was evocative of the, making my blush with shame. She lowered her head and snapped her hands. This, that, I, just don't want to go a day without Ellie and have gotten used to having you. Come on, dance, don't be so sentimental. It's not like we're parting for life or death. It's not like Ellie's gone for good. Really, Mai opened her mouth, not knowing what to say for a moment, and, all that could be done was to cry and fling herself into Alicia's arms and beg for a cuddle. For a while, Mai raised her head to look at Aelithia in a daze. Ellie, you have to promise me that you'll come back early. That's for sure. Ellie wouldn't want a pretty girl to stay in the house. Pull the hook. Mai held out her hand. Aelithia smiled with a face that didn't refuse and looked at each other. Pull the hook and hang yourself for 100 years and don't change. Whoever changes is a pig. Making a promise between the two. Xiao Dance's hanging heart finally fell. She was genuinely afraid that Ellie would never return. Ellie, are you leaving today? Yeah. Go early and come back early so that we can fulfill your promise. Mai. Okay, I'll give you a ride. Looking at Mai's determined eyes, Aelithia knew that she couldn't persuade a bit that, only nodded in response. Afterwards, Xiao Dance escorted them all the way until they reached the entrance of the academy. Meanwhile, behind it was a large group of people silently following the. Looking at this stance without knowing it, one would think that Mai was the academy boss. Bye Ellie, make sure you come back early. I'll be waiting for you back at the academy. Well then, Ellie responds to everyone who loves me. Mai reluctantly said goodbye to Aelithia. She kept watching her silhouette disappear from sight before returning to the academy. At this time, Wang Shang, who was a junior brother, came to Xiao Mai's side. Sister Xiao Mai, where is Ellie-san going with this? Ellie Xia, getting the second soul ring went. Ha? Wang Shang was confused. He wasn't the only one who was confused. A large group of people behind him were confused. What did they hear? Getting the second soul ring? Take away less. The second soul ring. Throughout the history of Notting Academy there had never been a single person who had done it. And Ellie had done it. No one has ever been there before or since. After thinking that it was Aelithia, the crowd was relieved. After all, she is an innate full soul power. She is also a dual-born martial soul. It's hard to come up with one in 10,000 years on the mainland. True to form. There's just nothing that Ellie-senpai can't do. Praise Ellie. Xiao Chenyu, who was the #1 fan of Ellie, was the first to slow down and praise Ellie. The news about Aelithia leaving the academy to obtain her second soul ring quickly spread through the academy. None were in awe. Only one person can't accept it and is suspected of not being able to distinguish reality anymore. Can't tell the difference. Can't tell the difference at all. How is this possible? Tang San's pupils quaked. He couldn't accept the bad news that Aelithia was going to obtain her second soul ring. He couldn't take it. Why are they both equally innate full of soul power? And why are they both equally dual-born martial souls? Why are the two so far apart? Why? Tang San was so depressed that he slightly inattentively involved the wounds left by yesterday's brutal beating. A mouthful of fresh sprayed out. Ever since he met Aelithia, his luck had gone down in the flesh, and the bad luck of a proper bad boy. The other side. Aelithia walked out of the Nordine Academy and down the not-so-busy streets. It's been some time since I've been in Notting City, and Ellie has never wandered. It was just the right time to take advantage of this outing to obtain a soul ring and walk around Notting City. The pedestrians saw the pink-headed girl and were all amazed by her appearance. Hiss. Whose kid is this? So cute. So want to give it a hug. God damn it. Why are boys being born instead of little cottons? It's not bad to be a cute tomboy then. Ha ha. The streets were peaceful and goodwill was spread to Aelithia. At that moment, a yell of selling came from the distance. The sweet-smelling candy canes are delicious. If you miss them, you won't have them anymore. Alicia's eyes lit up. She hadn't eaten a candy cane yet. Taste what it tasted like. Boss, have a bunch. Okay, just the last string left to give you. The boss had a smile on his face as he looked at the endearing Aelithia and gave her the last of the candy canes. No, 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 I can't take a small business for nothing. It's okay, this string isn't worth a few bucks. At the sight of a string of 2 copper soul coins written on the cardboard, from his pocket, he took out the few remaining 2 copper soul coins and placed them on the boss's stall. In the next second, Aelithia ran away numbly, not giving her boss a chance. You kid, it's just a bunch of candy cane money. Running away for some distance, Aelithia stopped, and then ate a piece of candy cane. The sweet juice flowed over her tongue and filled her throat, and a smile bloomed like a lotus flower on Aelithia's face. It's so delicious. I'll have to bring my here next time. As she walked and ate, she didn't realize that Aelithia had come to the entrance of the alley, just about ready to get moving and find a wagon to take her to the Soul Hunter's forest. A delicate female voice could be heard ringing out behind Aelithia. Stop! Robbery! Hey! Aelithia blinked. Was she in for a mugging sound or a girl mugging herself? Turning her head to look, it was a girl in a dress with I don't know how many patches on it. A dagger was held in a trembling hand. The comical scene couldn't help but amuse Aelithia. Little sister, you can't even hold the knife steady. It's your first time robbing, right? What's wrong for a girl to learn? Why should she learn to rob others? But if it's something difficult, just tell Ellie, who's more than happy to listen, and would love to help you oh so much. Aelithia's sparkling yet soft eyes, the voice of the gentle heart that, it made the girl's insides tighten and she lost her thoughts completely. The dagger in his hand fell to the ground with a bam. Slow down. Aelithia could tell at a glance that the girl wasn't a bad person by nature. It should be something difficult to go down that road. No mistakes have been made yet, there's still time to correct them. My brother has been very ill with a fever for several days and is in dire need of a sum of money to purchase medicinal herbs for his treatment. My parents died a week ago. I'm just an orphan. I haven't awakened my martial spirit yet. No one wants them wherever you go, and you're desperate before you try to rob them. As it turned out, I was really useless. I couldn't do anything. Early death of her parents, a seriously ill brother, brokenness, such a poor person. Who will help her if not Aelithia? Alicia's gaze sympathized. What a girl with a hard life. I'm sorry, Ellie didn't mean to bring up your sadness. Perhaps influenced by Alicia's beautiful, moving audio, the girl forced a smile. It's okay, I'm used to it. Big sister doesn't have to apologize to me. Looking at the understanding little girl, Aelithia was even more heartbroken, subconsciously reaching out to stroke the girl's head. Unexpectedly the girl shrank back. Big sister, I'm dirty and it'll dirty your hands. A smile appeared on Alicia's face. It's fine, Avery doesn't mind. Reaching out once more, this time the girl didn't dodge, but looked straight at Aelithia. The eyes full of tears, simply because it had been such a hard time for her. No one is willing to lend a helping hand in the midst of the world. If Aelithia hadn't shown up at just the right time to warm the girl's heart, maybe when the brother dies, that's the beginning of the girl's darkening. Come on, Ellie, take you to buy medicine. Aelithia took the girl's hand and, a spring-like smile on his face. But then, I'll have to trouble you to show Ellie the way. It's my first time wandering around Nottingham. Don't know the way. The girl was stupefied. How she had never thought that the person she was going to rob would want to help her instead. The girl felt guilty at the thought. She deserved to die. Thank you, big sister. The girl's voice choked and her eyes were already red. Don't cry. A girl's face won't look good if she cries. Aha! The girl hurriedly wiped away her tears. Big sister, I'll lead the way for you. After making 7 turns along the way, he finally came to the front of the medicine hall. Go! The girl stepped back, too timid to enter. Every time she's been driven away because she's too dirty. She's already psychologized. Don't be afraid. Ellie will protect you. Aelithia took the girl's hand and sauntered into the medicine hall. Guest, what do you need? The receptionist spoke in a standard. The afterglow glanced to the dirty girl and then to Aelithia. The day's gloom was swept away and the mood was great. Aelithia nodded and looked over at the girl. Anything you need, just tell Ellie. Big sister, ask for the herbs for the fever-reducing medicine. 10 portions of the herbs as the girl wants them. Okay. The staff was all smiles. Coming to life, coming to great life. 10 herbs is enough to earn a commission and improve your quality of life tonight. This is the simple and unadorned life of ordinary people. Immediately, the staff packs herbs for Aelithia at career-fast speeds. It took 2.5 minutes to complete. Guest, here are the 10 portions of fever-reducing medicinal herbs you asked for. How much? 1 silver soul coin. Boss, swipe your card. The staff's eyes went straight the moment Aelithia took out her black gold card. I don't know what it is, but it must be something big. Boss, come on. When in doubt, go to your boss. Soon the boss came sniffing and frowned. What's all the panic about? When he finished speaking, his afterglow caught a glimpse of the black gold card in Alicia's hand, and his eyes widened in astonishment. The gods were shocked. After a long moment's reprieve, the boss's attitude rotated 360 degrees and he opened his mouth respectfully. Honorable guests have come to the store in a big way. There is a long way to go. The owner naturally recognized the black and gold card in Alicia's hand. This is a black and gold card from the 7 Treasures Glazed sect. Only 5 on the continent. Each card is endowed with supreme financial power and status. 1 in 7 Treasures Glazed sect Patriarch Ningfengji, and 1 in each of the 2 honorary elders. There is another one in the hands of the present Pope Bibidan. And the last one has not been heard from so far, not realizing that it fell into the hands of a girl. Sort of witnessed history. and it was worth it in this life. Dear guest, according to the black and gold card rules, all discounts are 50%, so the money for these 10 medicinal herbs is 50 copper soul coins. A smile piled up on the owner's face as he swiped his card and re-handed it to Aelithia. Receiving the black and gold card, Alicia's eyes were complicated. She knew the card was worth quite a bit. She owed Rongrong a bit too much. Well, the next time we meet, we'll definitely give Rongrong a big surprise. Let's go. Aelithia pulled the girl out of the medicine hall. Enjoy your stay, honored guest, and welcome to your next visit. Walking out of the apothecary, Aelithia slipped the fever-reducing herbs into the girl's hand. Take it. Hurry up and get cured. Oh, the disease can't be delayed. Thank you, big sister. Ellie won't be accompanying you. I have important business to attend to. Seeing that Aelithia was leaving, the girl got anxious. What's your name, big sister? The girl gathered her courage and asked aloud. Aelithia had a smile on her face. Listen up. My name is Aelithia. Aelithia. That's a beautiful name. The people are even more beautiful. Thanks for the compliment. Oh, Ellie is happy. Big sister Ellie, I'd like to ask you why you're helping me? Why should I help you? You want to know why? Listen up. Ellie helps people for no reason whatsoever. Oh, love everyone in the world. Aelithia waved her hand and took a step away. The girl kept watching Alicia's back until she disappeared into the crowd, never to be seen again. Big sister Ellie, helping people without expecting anything in return. Is this what big sister Ellie believes in? I got it. I understand everything. I will also practice this path of yours, big sister Ellie, and I won't give up even if it's hard, because there's big sister Ellie waiting for me up ahead. The girl's eyes were unusually firm, and she had made up her mind. She must follow in Alicia's footsteps and carry on Ally's beliefs. In the long future, the continent will see the birth of a force motivated to fulfill Alicia's beliefs, and the name of the power is Love Gate. To the girl's little mind, Aelithia was unaware. It didn't take long to part with the girl and spend 5 copper soul coins to ride in the carriage. Where are you going, guest? Soul hunting forest. Ha? Guest, you're not kidding, are you? The horseman was stunned. A girl going to the soul hunter forest alone? This is crazy. It's suicide. The coachman looked at the beauty of Aelithia's. Shouldn't kids that age be attending a carefree academy? Are you in some kind of trouble, guest? Why seek your own death? Ah, no, you've misunderstood. I'm going to the soul hunting forest to obtain a soul ring. Ha, that's even more of a no-no. Just guests you alone. It's too dangerous, even though it's not the driver's job. But he couldn't bear to see a pretty girl lose her life over it.